Our top story here. You may have received a scam text message about a job opportunity, but what one Twin Cities woman experienced took that attempted job fraud to a much more sophisticated level.
Yeah, this is a crazy story. Extensive virtual interviews and remarkably authentic looking company benefits plans. All of it a fraud to get both personal information and cash. Rob Olson is live in our newsroom tonight. So Rob, we've been talking about this story. This is really an important warning about how far scam artists can go, because they really went really far.
Yeah, a lot of time here and a lot of very, very believable information being shared here. We're talking about a high-level executive position, interviews that went into remarkable depth and knowledge, and also talking about how our ever-changing virtual working world has turned even job interviews into potential elaborate scams.
And Rob, you know that she got really far down the line with these folks. It seemed so real every step of the way. And then eventually, when she realized that this was just a fraud, she did reach out to the company, correct? And talk to them about what was happening?
She did. Very much the first thing she did is contact this company in California to say what had happened, and they were just absolutely shell-shocked by this and distraught that they were being impersonated at such a sophisticated level to this extent. But again, she wants to share her story here. You know, a lot of people might be embarrassed to share this, but she said she thinks it's very important to let others know, again, how elaborate this can become.
Being embarrassed about it doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't serve me. It certainly doesn't serve the people that could potentially be impacted by this.
Vanessa Nelson wants everyone to know how she got taken in by a very sophisticated scam. As a veteran business executive and management consultant, she's used to getting emails from recruiters.
Most of us in this industry get them all the time.
The job she was approached about was a VP position working remotely for a real tech company in California. She found a matching position listed on several job websites, and she spent 6 to 8 hours on interviews over 10 days. The first round was a couple-hour chat that was very detailed and in-depth. The next rounds were either phone calls or virtual meetings with several people, but never on camera, partly because she was on vacation.
They said, well, for this next couple rounds, let's just stick with audio only. When you're back in town and then you've got your business attire, then we can do it face-to-face. This is the benefits. Oh, they had me sign a code of conduct, which is a detailed document of, how did they have that?
But the very authentic-looking offer letter and benefits package came before any on-camera chat occurred. She then filled out the forms, including her social security number and bank information. That is a standard part of onboarding.
Again, with a largely remote culture, it didn't seem that weird.
But the red flag came when they wanted her to purchase about $15,000 worth of equipment and software directly from a vendor using a Cash App transfer. She then insisted on an on-camera meeting and made clear her suspicions, and never heard from them again.
No matter what your background is and how long you've been in industry and your experience, this can impact anyone, and especially when the job is something that looks really darn cool.
Yeah, so scary, Rob, especially if you're talking about a real company that's being impersonated by somebody else. But she did discover some red flags along the way, like having to purchase that equipment. Yeah. What other warnings does she have for people?
Well, and again, she said it's kind of a different world here where people may not use cameras. This is a tech company. They said we're kind of a non-camera culture. We'll do it later. What she said here is that if anybody's recruiting you, as she did, through an email, and again, impersonating a real company, first thing you should do is call that real company and verify that this position is there, that they've reached out to you, that the person you've talked to, again, is authentic. In this case, it wasn't. That company was, again, just flabbergasted that this occurred. So those are the steps to take. In addition, she also took immediate steps to protect her bank information and freezing her credit. An important thing, too, if you're ever in a situation where you're concerned you might have been taken.
I know it's probably hard for her to go public with this, but it's so important to give other people a heads up that this is happening. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Rob Olson, in our newsroom tonight.
Hello, Mr. Trump. It's an honor to meet you. I was wondering what you would say to President Obama.
You're fired.
With Labor Day approaching, unions representing federal workers are in a fight for survival. On Thursday, President Trump issued a new executive order stripping additional federal workers of their union rights, including workers at NASA and the National Weather Service. This comes after other agencies, including HHS and the VA, have terminated union contracts. President Trump says it's necessary to protect national security. The unions contend it's about something else. NPR's Andrea Hsu reports.
Early this month, Sharda Fornerino got the news. The Department of Veterans Affairs was ending nearly all of its collective bargaining agreements. Those are contracts that spell out things like disciplinary procedures, parental leave policies, how overtime is managed, and much more. Not only are those agreements now void, the unions were told to clear out of federal buildings.
We went in on the weekend and we emptied our office space.
Fornerino works at the Denver VA. She's an outpatient surgery nurse and local director for the union National Nurses United. Since the 1960s, federal employees have had the right to join unions and collectively bargain over working conditions. The idea is that giving workers a say in workplace policies leads to more effective government. As a union rep, Fornerino has spent time advocating for things like training for nurses who are floated to different departments and enhanced safety on the job.
We were able to put in some protections at their nursing station, increase VA police presence in both the emergency room and the psych unit,
which she says benefits both the nurses and the veterans they serve. But the VA sees it differently. The agency noted that last year, employees like Fornerino spent 750,000 hours of taxpayer-funded time on union activities. In a press release, the VA said, quote, "Those hours can now be used to serve veterans instead of union bosses." Fornerino scoffs at that suggestion.
I think that's just, truly, I feel like that's kind of propaganda.
Behind all of this is Trump's executive order ending collective bargaining rights at agencies he says have national security as a primary function. The president's rationale is that it hurts national security when unions are able to obstruct management. But the executive order doesn't apply to all federal employee unions. It targets those that have challenged him in court over things like mass layoffs and leaves unions that support him alone. That includes unions representing law enforcement, as well as Customs and Border Protection employees, even though
they're the first line of defense against terrorism in the United States.
Cole Gandy doesn't work for Customs and Border Protection. Gandy works at the Agriculture Department and leads a union that just lost its contract there. But Gandy's day job is working with Customs and Border Protection inspectors, training them on how to stop pests from entering the country.
They have to know how to find the bugs, how to collect them, how to submit them for identification to somebody else.
That somebody else being an agriculture employee who no longer has union rights. Gandy's union and others have pointed out these inconsistencies in multiple lawsuits. They've been trying to convince the courts that Trump's attack on unions has nothing to do with national security, that it's retaliation pure and simple. But 2 appeals courts have so far ruled that Trump can move forward while litigation continues. Judges cited his unique responsibility for safeguarding national security. Gandy has tried to assure members this isn't the end.
We're going to fight to be a union until we can't anymore.
But across the federal government, some workers aren't waiting around to see what happens. They're quitting now, having decided a government job just isn't worth it anymore. Andrea Hsu, NPR News.
Labor unions and activists are marking Labor Day in the U.S. by holding protests against the Trump administration. The rallies are more pointed in cities like Chicago, where President Trump is threatening to use National Guard troops to crack down on crime and illegal immigration. Today's demonstrations were organized in part by the AFL-CIO under the slogan, "Workers over billionaires." Fred Redmond is the labor group's secretary-treasurer, and he joins us now. Good to see you on Labor Day, and happy Labor Day to you. I am wondering what you are hoping that this turnout and these protests achieves.
Well, first of all, happy Labor Day to you. And today, as you mentioned, the AFL-CIO hosted 1,000 events in 900 cities around this country. And what we would like to see, and what these workers would like to see who are attending these rallies in great numbers, they want to see an economy and a government and a country that works for the people, not just the billionaires. And, throughout this entire week of action, we're going to have protests because workers is demanding to be treated with dignity and self-respect. And that's what we want to see. We want to see workers being treated with the respect that they deserve, and workers are being considered valuable people in this society. I mean, we're talking about people who wake this country up every morning and tuck it to sleep at night. So what we want to see is those workers treated with the dignity and respect deserved.
In terms of the dignity and respect, though, President Trump does claim to be great for workers. I'm using his words. And yet he is trying to outlaw collective bargaining for 2/3 of the federal workforce. What could this mean for the labor movement? And I do feel that I need to point out that the president did receive significant support from the labor movement itself in terms of some leadership, not all, and, of course, some of the membership.
Well, there was a few leaders, very few, and we've seen some of our members who voted for this administration, for this president. And we just completed, over the last 2 months, we've visited 50 cities and talked to our members and talked to workers. And what workers are telling us, what they did not vote for, is to see 1 in 8 federal workers pushed out of jobs this year under the federal workforce. A total of 300,000 federal employees this year has lost their jobs due to Trump's policies. According to last month's job numbers, what these workers are telling us, they didn't vote for 37,000 manufacturing jobs has been eliminated over the last 3 months. What workers are telling us is that what they didn't vote for is 2 million, and that's the number of unemployment claims that American workers have filed this year alone, which is the highest since 2021. And what the workers did not vote for, those who voted for this president, was 1 million federal employees stripped of their collective bargaining rights.
But that is some of what they're getting. But I want to ask you, what are the labor laws in place good for if the executive branch seems to just be able to walk all over those laws?
Well, we don't think that there are. We don't think that they have legal standing to eliminate some of the laws that they did and to invoke some of the orders that he have issued. That's why we have a very aggressive legal approach. We've won some of these cases. We've lost some. A lot of these cases are headed to the Supreme Court. But we're fighting this on all fronts, not just in the street, not just at rallies, but we got a strong legal position that we're taking with a combined legal force that's working on behalf of workers.
And like so much of what the executive branch executes right now, a lot of it is ending up in court. And we will continue to follow developments. Fred Redmond, have to leave it there. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, it's the Puerto Ricans. If it wasn't for them damn Puerto Ricans, black people would be on Easy Street. Well, that Mexican took my job. He ain't took your job. He was given the job. Given the job by who? The people who give out jobs. Well, who are they? Duh. Have you ever had a job? Who gave it to you? Right, come on.
Learning basic digital skills can help immigrants find higher-paying jobs or safer work, and it's a way for them to feel connected to the city. But WNYC's Karen Yee reports there are few programs in New York City to do this.
Inside a 2-story house in the Parkchester neighborhood of the Bronx, children play on the floor beside a group of women sitting around a large table, learning how to use Zoom.
Zoom.com, Z-O-O-M, Zoom.
They're taking a computer class taught by the nonprofit Sapna NYC that aims to help South Asian immigrant women. The instructor alternates between Bengali and English, helping his students sign up for a free account, create passwords, and learn the most important thing.
Okay, we all have to mute ourselves.
The organization provides childcare on site, so the women can focus on learning how to use their lended laptops. 52-year-old Fazia Jahan says she now uses Zoom to talk with her daughters who were away at college.
Actually, I use the computer, email, and the Google Meet, Google Zoom.
Many of the jobs available to new immigrants come with higher risks, such as day labor, cleaning, or delivery work. Advocates say learning digital skills can help them stay safer and find better jobs. But despite demand, there are few programs in the city that teach digital literacy to immigrant communities.
Being able to use the internet, like even just basic Google searches, opens up so much information for families.
SAPNA Executive Director Dia Basusen says learning tech skills also makes life easier.
Whether it's looking for food pantries or being able to access the kind of My Chart for their doctor's appointment or the student portals for school.
She says it can also help parents look up fun activities for their kids.
Buy tickets online. So it's so many tiny little things that we don't think about that just makes life so much easier.
While the public library and other programs offer coding or advanced computer skills, immigrant groups say their communities sometimes need more basic training, like
how to use their iPhones, because most of the women have iPhones, but some of them, they use the iPhones just to do WhatsApp.
Ligia Gualpa runs the Workers' Justice Project, which is training domestic workers on how to use different apps on their smartphones.
We have been teaching how to use ChatGPT to respond to their employers in a professional way.
Gualpa says learning even simple tools like how to use the GPS on their phones so they don't get lost can be transformative. Karen Yee, WNYC News.
These are pretty hard times to find work if you're unemployed. Hiring slowed dramatically this year as inflation and tariffs continue to unsettle the economy. There is one place that is hiring, and that is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. They want to hire 10,000 new agents. Ads show Uncle Sam in the style of a World War II recruitment poster pointing his finger. The ad says, America has been invaded by criminals and predators. We need you to get them out. No college degree is necessary, and you can be as young as 18 years old. Last week in Arlington, Texas, thousands of people answered the call at a 2-day ICE recruitment drive. Brittany Mejia was there. She's a reporter for the Los Angeles Times. Welcome back to Press Play, Brittany.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, how many people showed up?
Yeah, so actually it was a huge turnout. So the first day I was there, there were hundreds of people. Even before the event started, there was more than 100 people in line. So in all, over the 2 days, 3,000 people attended.
Wow. And how many were hired, do you know?
So there were, the last I heard last week, there were nearly 700 tentative job offers. So it's at this point, I'm still waiting to hear on the firm numbers. So those tentatives will become firm offers if, the person clears a background check, and also once the results of the drug test come back.
Okay. What are the other criteria?
So it really ranges. I was talking to people who were telling me, they were getting turned away because they didn't have enough work experience. And so it was people who worked in fast food or maybe not as relevant of industries, or just didn't have the experience, were kind of too young. And then I think one of the biggest focuses of these recruitment drives really is prior and current law enforcement. And I think a big reason for that is because there's a training that everyone has to do at FLETC, which is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia. And if someone's already gone through the process as current law enforcement, their thought is, okay, we can actually cut down the amount of training time and maybe just have them do a month of training versus 6 months, which is the standard.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that they've changed and relaxed the age requirements. So there used to be a minimum of, you had to be at least 21 years old, and then around 40 years old was the maximum, and the upper age limit has been discarded. And as I said, the minimum age is now 18. So you could be a high school graduate, a high school senior, and apply, I guess. So what kind of age range did you see there?
Definitely, I saw that age range. I mean, there was a father and son who were there together, and there was a recruitment poster that specifically was oh, we're taking father-son bonding to a new level. And that was the point, was oh, we're relaxing all of these age limits. But I was interviewing someone who's 61, and he felt he had a chance because of they were waiving the age limits. The thing, though, that ICE officials have stressed to me is that, they're taking all these applications, but people still need to pass a fitness test. And so I think it was like doing 20 push-ups in a minute, or, being able to run the mile. Like, it was all these requirements that they were like, okay, if they're physically fit, then we'd consider them. And then same, like, if someone's, because I was asking the same thing about someone being young, like 18, 19, and they were like, well, if someone is 19, 20, or is a cop already and it just happens to be a young cop, we just don't want to exclude them from the process. And so I am curious. I am going to be curious to see how many of these officers that they end up hiring, the deportation officers, like what the age range really is. Because I think in some cases I was hearing about a cop who came from Massachusetts, and he's like he's in his 40s, and previously he'd been told, like, no, you can't, you're past that age limit, we can't take you. And then once they waived it, he actually came back to this hiring expo in hopes of getting hired now.
Okay, and I guess it's pretty attractive salary-wise, right? They're offering signing bonuses of up to $50,000 and student loan repayments.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I registered when I was actually at the expo and talking to people was a lot of people saying, like, I don't want a job, I want a career. And, I was hearing people online who were like talking about how they needed to pay off a house they just bought. Someone I talked to who's in the solar panel industry was like, I'm a contract worker, I pay for all my own benefits, and if I were to get a job with ICE, like, they would pay for my benefits. I did talk to several people who were really coming at it from an economic standpoint, and so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and so tell me more about who you talked to and what they said, because in your story, you talked to a young Latino man whose dad was deported, and there he was trying to get a job with the very agency that deported his father. He had received a text from a friend who said, quote, "I will not speak to you ever again if you become an ICE agent." What was his reaction to that?
It was such a wide cross-section, so varied in terms of demographics of who turned out. And there were a lot of Latinos who came, and Ricardo Quiros was one of them. He's 23. He had come with two of his friends, another friend, Ivan, who's also Latino. And they both, unprompted, really started talking about how they were going to be viewed or critiqued, because even Ivan was saying his dad was not happy that he went. Basically, he was saying his dad told him, other Mexicans are going to look at you differently if you do that. Ricardo especially was just telling me, he was supposed to join the army, and then that didn't end up working out. And so in his mind, he was like, okay, well, I'm trying to figure out something that will work, for me, and then I can build a career off of. And so in his mind, this was the way of doing that. But it was interesting that he's sitting at the expo and texting a picture to a friend, and they're responding just like, "Oh, I did not think you were serious. Like, why did you do that?" And so it was really interesting just talking to him about his feelings, like his dad being deported. And for him, it was like him setting that aside and maybe compartmentalizing and being like, telling his friend, I'm trying to get a career.
Yeah. Did he seem guilty at all or feel guilty, do you think?
I think he was surprised. I was surprised, actually, that he was surprised about his friend's reaction, because he seemed just kind of like, oh, he had sent her this picture offhand. But the fact that she knows his history, knows about his dad, I think it's 30% of ICE and 50% of Border Patrol are Latino. And so I have heard these conversations coming up especially in Latino communities. And so it was interesting. I think he did maybe feel a little bit, I don't want to say ashamed. It was more just I get where she's coming from, and him being kind of wrestling with that a little bit.
And from what you could tell at this recruitment drive, how many people there were Latino?
I would say, a fair amount. It was a lot, because I was sitting there in the waiting area at one point, and I'm hearing all the names get called. And it's all Latino last names that I'm hearing. I'm sitting down and I'm listening to people talk to each other in Spanish. A lot of the conversations I was hearing were actually in Spanish.
Yeah. And did anyone seem particularly conflicted?
You know, that's the thing. I mean, no, not really. Even, well, when I talked to Ivan and Ricardo, Ivan was saying, you know, I'm not gonna, if I see something bad or if they're doing something, you know, I wouldn't go along with that or I wouldn't be okay with that because there was kind of a disconnect. I was talking to Latinos who were saying, you know, they're going after criminals, you know, and that's who they're arresting. And like, I'm okay with that. But, you know, there's this contrast of, especially if you look at LA, if you're seeing street vendors and people outside of Home Depots that are getting arrested, you know, some without any criminal background. And so there was almost just like a disconnect there. And it was interesting talking to some of the protesters who turned out because their big thing to me was like, everyone who's coming here has to know what's happening. If you don't know, then you're being willingly ignorant.
So from what you could tell, was it that the people there who are Latino were ignorant about what was happening in terms of who was getting deported, or were they just sort of setting that aside?
I think it was both. I think some people were setting it aside for sure because I think it was their way of being like, okay, look, this is an opportunity I have. And then there were others. I mean, there was another woman I interviewed, Angela La Rosa, who's this 45-year-old, like a former flight attendant, you know, was telling me her mom had immigrated from Mexico, her dad from Uruguay. And, you know, she's telling me similar, like, you know, they're not just taking anyone off the street and deporting them. You know, these people have criminal backgrounds, like they're a threat to the community. You know, she told me, and I quote, they're taking the criminals out and I'm all for that.
Brittany Mejia covers the federal courts as a Metro reporter for the Los Angeles Times. Brittany, thank you.
AI is rapidly reshaping the workplace. More companies are turning to it as a substitute for hiring or retraining workers, and that's raising urgent questions about the future of the job market. For many families, the uncertainty can feel personal. What kinds of jobs will their children or anyone entering the workforce years from now actually have? Robert Reich is a professor of public policy at University of California, Berkeley, and the former labor secretary under President Bill Clinton. And he wrote about this recently in his Substack essay titled, How Your Kids Will Make Money in a World of AI. And he joins us now. Thanks for being here.
Delighted. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing well, and I have wanted to speak with you ever since reading your Substack because of the really interesting way you categorize work. You say there are 3 categories of jobs: making, thinking, and caring. Which of these do you think is most at risk from AI, and why?
Well, the making jobs really have been automated over the last 30 to 40 years. You go into a manufacturing facility today, and it's mostly computerized machine tools. The thinking jobs are the ones that are most at risk from artificial intelligence because artificial intelligence really will be automating many thinking jobs. And I'm talking about everything from doctors to lawyers, accountants, people who are and call themselves professionals who have got a lot of degrees, but whose particular thinking processes can be replicated and is being replicated by AI.
What role do you see for education, universities, schools, vocational programs in adapting to this new AI-shaped economy?
Well, there's certainly going to be jobs in improving AI and in installing and servicing AI. There are going to be a lot of jobs, inevitably, important jobs in critical thinking and assessment, but many professional jobs, the kind of jobs that people have spent a lot of money to get professional degrees for, may not be delivering. Even today, a lot of computer engineering jobs have been essentially automated away by AI. So the job market is going to change. Now, the caring jobs, the third category of jobs, the people who provide personal care, whether it's child care or elder care, nurses, psychotherapists, people who are in the job of, if you will, empathy, their jobs will not easily be replaced by AI because the essence of caring jobs is humans, human touch, human contact, human caring. AI may pretend and convince some people that there is a human being operating on the other side of the screen, but ultimately, human touch is going to be incredibly important.
There was a time, though, when kids who had an aptitude for math or science were encouraged to learn coding. But with AI, to your point, making some of those coding jobs now obsolete, the ground has shifted. So what should parents be prioritizing today to best prepare their kids for the jobs of tomorrow?
Well, I think the most important thing is versatility. That is, young people need to be able to learn rapidly, to move from job to job, to not assume that the old career paths are really there any longer. AI is going to jumble everything, and the trajectory of AI is almost impossible to foresee. So versatility, adaptability is going to be very, very important.
What about the here and now? I'm hearing stories of recent college graduates who are talented, smart, and qualified, and yet they can't find work. To what degree is AI displacement responsible for that? And what options do they realistically have in navigating it?
Well, AI is undoubtedly replacing some jobs right now in computer engineering and in computer sciences. I would not recommend that somebody immediately leap into another graduate degree or a professional degree, becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or anything else. I think the most important thing is for people to really understand from the inside what it is that customers, clients, people actually need and be able to empathize with individuals. Again, the essence of caring jobs is empathy. And I don't believe that we're ever going to get to a point, at least in our lifetimes, where AI can replicate caring and empathy.
Is there a policy prescription for this that would help alleviate some of the job market challenges on the horizon?
Inevitably, I think that universal basic income is going to become more popular because the caring jobs of the future that are going to dominate the future, given AI's tendency to automate so many professional jobs, those caring jobs are not going to be paying all that much. They don't pay that much today. And so the notion of a universal basic income that is gaining ground in many countries and has shown some promise in the United States may actually be a major policy in the future.
In your new book, Coming Up Short, you argue that the baby boomer generation squandered much of the prosperity it inherited. Given that history, how do you see today's generation navigating the rise and the promise of AI? Is there a risk that they repeat some of the same mistakes and come up short in their own way? How can they best leverage the advances of this incredible technology?
Well, there is obviously risk of them coming up short as well. But I have enormous faith, Jeff, in the young people today. I have been teaching for 44 years. My most recent students and the generation of students I've taught over the last 4 or 5 years, they are more dedicated and committed to a better world. They are more willing to make the sacrifices that are necessary to achieve that better world and are more critically thoughtful. They are not cynical, but they are at least realistic about the future than any generation I've dealt with before.
Robert Reich, always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Police are looking for the man who attacked a young restaurant worker. The man bit that worker 6 times. You can see some of the wounds there. Reg Chapman spoke to that teenager in downtown Minneapolis for a story you'll see only on WCCO.
The egg rolls and the chicken vinegar salad.
19-year-old Jazariah Sheldon has worked at the Lotus since he was 16.
Every day I work here, I don't really think of it as like a job. I've known the family since I was like 13.
What he never expected was to be attacked while taking out the garbage. Video from a store nearby shows the confrontation.
When I walked past him for the first time, he said something along the lines of, "What are you doing here, suburb boy?"
Jazariah says there were several people standing by watching as a man continued to verbally attack him.
There was a lady watching. She watched everything happen. And he looks at the lady and he goes, "Watch what I'm about to do to this B word." And then that's when he starts pushing me up against the window. And then that's when it turned into self-defense.
Jazariah studies jiu-jitsu. He used those skills and what he learned as a high school wrestler to fight back.
Every time I would pick him up and have him in the air, he was like 6'2", so he has a lot of room. He would latch onto my shoulder while I was taking him down. And every time I had him on the ground, he would bite my chest.
Bystanders pulled Jazarius off the attacker, and when he tried to walk away, he kept coming for him. He was bitten 6 times on his shoulder, his back, and his arm.
He got his whole mouth on there.
Got his whole mouth on there, yeah. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the guy, bit off more than he can chew, so.
Lotus co-owner Yum Nguyen says his family has seen the neighborhood change since they opened in 1984.
I think safety is a huge issue here in Minneapolis. People don't tend to come out anymore to go dine out, to go eat, because they don't feel safe. I think that's the biggest thing.
He wants more patrols in the area, but understands why police response is limited.
Yeah, they need more help. The guys are just short-staffed, and there's only so much they can do.
Nguyen hopes neighbors use their power of presence to keep the area safer.
I've always believed if more people came out, more people from the neighborhood, it tends to shoo away the bad people.
With photojournalist Chris Cruz, Rex Chapman, WCCO News.
Police say they are searching for the attacker. We're told he could face felony assault charges.
I don't mess around with no Minnesota. I was in Minnesota this summer. I told you when they had that shooting just a couple days ago, it took that to remind me. Oh, yeah. I was in Minneapolis just a couple months ago. Man. Complaining about Wisconsin the whole time, but hey, I was in Minnesota. George Floyd, I did not feel, what shall I say, that sanctuary, safety. That was not my thought process while I was in Minnesota. It was just George Floyd, and man, Wisconsin was so bad, I ended up in Minnesota. What? That was my thought process, but bitten. Man. Get your rabies shots. They say the neighborhood's so down, people don't even want to go out to eat. I guess not if the employees are getting chomped on. Man, I stay at home and make me a sandwich. Gus T, worthless Negro from Virginia, in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the global system of white supremacy. Today's date, Thursday, September 4, 2025. So I have been told. This is our weekly forum, Neutralizing Workplace Racism. Not for spectators. If you have been assaulted in the workplace, or if you had to chomp on somebody in the workplace, let us know. I think we talked about that a lot, particularly during COVID-19. I can say this one we didn't slouch on. We talked about it regular. I remember specific reports. We had it was a black female. This was during COVID, and she had a can of like the Lysol spray to spray down her work area. And apparently, white woman got upset about this. Look at you in here spraying Lysol everywhere. Oh, scaredy cat and worried about the cooties and all this, mocked her about this, and then shoved her. Assault. And the black female turned around and conked her over the head with the bottle of Lysol. And then they charged the black female with assault. They didn't do anything to the white woman. But we've talked about this repeatedly. If you pause on everything, because this was a teen who was bitten at work. Yet another reason why I say it is absolutely mandatory. You have got to talk to your offspring about racism in the workplace. And, hey, these are hazards, things that can happen, bad things that can happen in the workplace. Mandatory. Got to do it. Got to do it. Somebody comes in to your child's place of work and they're ranting and raving. Look what I'm going to do to that beat. What are you doing out here, suburb boy? And all that. Once all that starts, okay, this is what I think you should do. This is what I would encourage you to do. You've already had a discussion about this sort of thing and that it's likely to happen in a system of white supremacy racism. But this is why I think we talked about that last week, and I've talked about that many times, about the importance. Talk to your children. I think we had non-Clemson dad last week said, I got my notes, man. I've been sitting around and talking to you lames here at the cows, man. I'm going to use some of these notes and share them with my offspring. Look at what they did to your dad in the workplace. Called me a contagion. Talk about the Rona. Called me a contagion. I didn't get to about they sabotaged my computer and everything. Talk to your children. That way they'll have an honest appreciation of, dang, what? One, maybe they'll have a better appreciation of attempted parents and all that you all go through for them. But then two, hey, what can I expect in the workplace? Like, dude, what? They called you a contagion? What? Really? For real? Man. They ain't update your computer for what? For real? Dang. Accurate expectations we hopefully can make better, because I'm submitting strongly a major part of the problem. It's just obvious from evidence. I can do personal anecdote as well, but the evidence is overwhelming. We, people classified as black in this part of the world, have not done an adequate job talking to our offspring about racism in the workplace, or even just our workplace experience, period, so that we can make more logical, evidence-based decisions. Codify our conduct on the job, if you will. We have just not done this. Hopefully, cows can be a part of changing, improving this bit of our behavior. Misbehavior, I would say, because it's a major oversight, like astronomical. Even what would you want your offspring to do if you had non-white, male or female, teen, right? 19, 18, brain computer isn't even completely formed yet. What would you want them to do? They're on the job and some random person walks in off the street and, watch what I do to this, suburb gal, boy, whatever it is. How would you want them to respond? Whether they know jujitsu or not, how would you want them to respond? One to think about. Certainly, all these years removed from COVID-19, it can get real rowdy in the workplace. Some of us know better than others. Personal experience, or at least we've talked about, you've seen, it can get real dangerous, violent in the workplace. Any hoodles. Let's see. Not for spectators. The number to dial 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. You need to be anonymous. Make sure we can, or whomever can't identify your voice and all of that. Use the email. Let us know if you have suggestions, problems in the workplace to share. A few words on some of the audio we heard at the very beginning, in addition to the teen being bitten in the workplace. The report about the fake jobs, that's another one. Talk to your offspring. Man, in this day and we've discussed this one before. Any sort of job offer where you didn't initiate contact, you didn't send these folks a resume, you don't know someone there in HR, this isn't, oh yeah, I met a person in this organization. They told me they were going to, send out a feeler, let me know when they maybe had opening. You haven't applied here in the past. Out of the book, you've never heard of this organization. Ask questions and plenty of them. This one I said, do research. I say, even if you initiate contact, I did fill out an application for these people. I have heard of these folks. Even if all of that is true, even then, you still want to do research. Let me find out as much info about these folks as I possibly can so I can make a great decision and so I can be well informed about the work environment that I'm about to enter. Super duper important. Even like I said, if everything is on the up and up. Now, if it's something where it's, what? Who are these people? What's your name again? Like all of that, like, whoa, what, 200 questions? Lots of questions. And in fact, we had a young lady, she dialed in fact, unless my memory is really bad, let us know if Gus T is acting crazy. But my recollection, she said she got a job offer, and it was just like, what I'm saying. What? Who is this? What kind of, when? And she was even thinking, I don't remember applying to, who are these? And she said then she got the impression that some of her co-workers were kind of, oh man, we heard you got a great job offer, congrats. Like, how did you get that? I haven't told you all anything about this. I didn't go around, clicking my heels and, woo, you suckers, I'm out of here, boy, and Whitey, I got to tell you, I got me to do that. She didn't do none of that. She was just kind of, what is that? Confused. What is this? Who are these people? Not going around bragging, celebrating, talking about it at all. And they came up to her like, yeah, we heard you got a new job offer, and that's great. Which just made her even more suspicious, in my view, intelligent. Now I got to ask even more questions. She even, got the impression this might have been some sort of racist prank on the part of her white co-workers. We're going to have a little fun, mess over this non-white person, get her acting goofy, thinking that she got some great new job that doesn't even exist. Maybe she'll even get ignorant and quit this job and really mess herself up. Thankfully, none of that happened. But even the time waste of all of it, like, what? Who is this? What is it? What? Even for all of that, just for your giggles? Now, the one that we heard was worse because they were trying to get money. Lots of questions, and even anything where they're asking, you give us your Social Security. They wanted to make some sort of purchase or what have you, maybe get your banking information. Like, whoa, what in the world? What is all this? What is all this? Questions, and be real hesitant about information, because they might, want you to fill out forms under the guise of you're going to be one of our new employees and all that, get your benefits into the whoa. Wait a minute. Then this is when, like I said, talk to your children, because I could see if you're younger, you don't have as much experience, hey, I'm new and I'm trying to get a job, and boom, might be much more susceptible to this sort of attack. Not saying old people couldn't be victimized too, because they certainly could be, but just, let's see. The report that we had about the Trump's alleged attacks on federal unions, I thought it was really important that they said it was certain unions, because they said it's not like this is just widespread, because they said the police unions, they're okay. The Border Patrol unions, they're okay. That's, wait a minute, that's some cronyism, isn't it? That's the same thing. People that you're cool with me, seem like you might vote for me, put a little money, in my pocketbook for the campaigns, and that's, union is okay. You all stick to it. The rest of y'all, cronyism through and through. And they said, some of the folks said, man, the way this is going, it make it seem like the federal job ain't even all this cracked up to be. Man, Maybe it never was. I don't remember. I keep pointing it out. I think the most well-known federal employee of folks in the alleged counter-racist circle would have to be Neely Fuller Jr. I don't remember Neely Fuller Jr. jumping up and down. He worked there for 3 decades. I do not ever remember him jumping up and down and, whoo, man, I am a government employee. I'm going to tell you. Got them federal benefits and pension and all the rest of it, and the rest of you lame niggers. Matter of fact, that's how I ended up getting this position. Do a little counter-racism science, boy. Got my little cushy. That's how they say. Got my cushy. I was trying to say cushy and comfortable. Both. Say, government position. All the benefits. And I just put my feet up and do a little counter-racism writing in my spare time. I don't ever remember him saying nothing close to that. Like nothing. Not even. If you all did, I didn't hear every single word he ever uttered. He was with us for many decades, thankfully, but I don't remember him bragging and boasting about, man, my government job, boy, that's what y'all got to do. Or he talked about employment all the time. I don't remember him saying, man, you know what to do, get you a government job. I don't remember him saying that ever, way before all this happened. I think I remember even with Obeezy, because that's a government job too. He was, oh man, you might get fired. Like, that's what he said. You could be fired any day, Obeezy. That's what he was saying. The eve of him going to the White House, end of 2008, after the election was over that November, it wasn't, oh boy, the Obamas about to be on easy street. Not at all. And they weren't. All them government death threats and everything else. Please. Let's see. The report on ICE recruitment. I thought that was fascinating. If I lived in an area where they had any sort of ICE recruitment fair, I would go. I would take pictures if allowed, interview, come back, report, tell you all everything I learned. Like, what in the world? They said the age restrictions, we poo that away. We need folks. We got to get these non-white criminals, boarders, rapists, 18 years old. What? How can you be 18? It even seemed like in the report they would say, well, if you younger and got law enforcement, 18, you could still be in high school. Are you telling me before you even graduate from high school, you could come and work for ICE? Gee, Lord, even in fact, now we want to talk facts and what is documented. We do know an ICE employee, Irritated Genie of Southeast, admitted on the record, ICE employee, Homeland Security, maybe get his thoughts. No age range, 18 to 80, blind, cripple, or crazy. Come on down the ICE, come on down the ICE, come on down. Now, they did say you got to pass the physical requirement. That one, once you got now like 2-3 generations of folks who've been eating microwave foods, DoorDash, maybe not 2 generations on DoorDash, but lots of generations of folks eating ultra-processed foods where they do not cook or eat any vegetables. Ooh-wee. That's going to be a tough one. They said you got to be able to do, 20 push-ups in a minute? Ooh. Ooh-wee. I've been eating Funyuns all day. I got to do what? In a minute, too. They didn't say you could take the whole day. You can do 1 or 2 and take a break. Can you do them on your knees? You got to do like for real. That's a lot. And then they say you got to run a mile. What? That's another. Can I walk it? Because they said run. Can I walk it? I can walk and eat the Funyuns. I can't do. I got to run. You got to. Ooh-wee. I'm gonna have to put my Funyuns down. Man, come on. That right there. You don't even need the age requirement. That's going like real talk. 8 to 80, blind, cripple, or crazy. That physical fitness requirement, that's the same thing they've been saying with the military where they don't have enough people. Buddy, that's going to wipe out a whole lot of folks right there who would be excited, looking forward. Give me a nigger knocker. Do they call it that if you're going to do ICE? Maybe they don't call it something else for the folks at the border. But, man, give me a Negro knocker. And I will club Gomez, Maria Gonzalez, Pedro, boy, I will crack the when you think you come over here, you old bean cannibal. But I can't pass the physical. Can't get them 20 push-ups, so miss out on them. Dang. They said they waived the upper age requirement too. Said you 50 years old. You do them 20 push-ups, you can. What in the world? What? I don't even hear that for other jobs. Do they do that with the air traffic controller? Because we need air traffic controllers. They got planes falling out the sky left and right. Are they doing all that? We gonna waive the age requirement and all this, see if we can get these folks in, get them trained up and all that. Are they doing that for air traffic controller? Maybe. Anyway, let's see. And then they said all these so-called Latino people, Fuller would, I would be remiss, producejustice.com, Fuller would say, man, it is no such thing as Latino as a racial classification. Hey, are these people classified as white? Are these people classified as white? Question. That was audio report. Couldn't see him. I don't know. That's it. When they got to talking, it almost sounded as though they were talking about Leroy. Lakeisha, you gonna go and work for the man? What kind of sellout is you? That's almost what it sounded like to me, but I don't know. Are these people classified as white? And they didn't say sellout. They just said, I'd be ashamed of you. I'll never speak to you again if you go and work for the ICE. Now, I will say, I'm not going to I didn't say I was going to the ICE recruitment fair to get a job. I did not say that. I would not want a job working for ICE, or really any job where I'm going to have to harm non-white people. I would not want that job. I got to pick up a nigger knocker and go upside some non-white people. I don't want that job. I'm good. And I would encourage that for other non-white people. That's not radical thought. Many other non-white people have said this, but I think that's one way we help put white people out of business. The system of white supremacy, replace it with justice. I am not going to go out and harm another non-white person on behalf of racists. I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't want that job, but we are still on the plantation, and they do require jobs. That said, even though I wouldn't take that ICE job, and I would not be name calling and can't believe that you sell out, can't believe you go, I wouldn't do that either. And the reason I wouldn't is because I would have to stop and say, well, if I take the job for ICE, or if I'm selling lettuce, picking lettuce, I'm working for the man. Nah, I'm not going to name, I'm going to say, if I got to work for the man, if I got to say so at all, I'm going to pick the lettuce, not the nigger knocker. That's all I'm saying. And since the person who is most to blame for this is Whitey, I'm not going to name call and fuss. And I thought that was just fascinating because they spent so much time on this. Like, oh man, what you think about that? And you going to be mad and you never going to speak to Pedro again? And oh man, ain't that messed up? And oh man, your dad, he was one of the ones that got, and you still going to go get to that? Hey. The people who are most to blame are classified as white. Let's get back to that. That's not all this. I feel like that happens all the time. They get all that focus and squabbling. I don't know if these people are not white, but I mean, woo, that's kind of what I expect. System of white supremacy racism where white people are totally left out of this, and it's just we get to sit down and squabble about who is the Uncle Tom or the sellout of the week, month, year, decade. Come on. Latino is not a racial classification. I thought the report on the response to the AI jobs was fascinating, particularly the breakdown. They were talking about jobs that are about making, which I thought was kind of obvious that, the machines have been taking over that, and aggressively so now, the making component. And then they said the thinking. Now that one, I said, oof. Going to be a whole lot, because they've been telling us for a long time, you don't do no thinking. Leroy. Even when Leroy did get to do a little bit of the making, you don't do no thinking. So that's going to be easy for the bots to kind of take that one over too, and we're slowly seeing the encroachment there as well. Now, they said the care component. Now, I would need a little bit more details and examples of that, but at least in my opinion, the system of white supremacy racism is not about quote-unquote care. So if it means, like, I don't know, someone to soothe you, a therapist type of a thing, listen empathetically, sponge bath, if it means something like that, I even think a lot of that, like, it's just going to be a matter of time, because we don't really have a lot of genuine care, C-A-R-E, whatever that means. I don't think we have a lot of that anyway. We have a lot of mistreatment. It's hard to have care in an environment of mistreatment and abuse, racism. And I'm even thinking, I was at a workshop earlier this year during the Seattle International Film Festival. Oh, it's in the archives. You all can go back and listen. But we talked about this. And I said, man, the way that white people have used niggers as sexual objects, do you see that reflected in the use of this burgeoning AI technology? And the respondent said, yep, and gave a detailed answer. So if that factors in as care, sexual gratification from bots and stuff, oh yeah, I think it's going to be all three. The bots are going to take all three. The bots are going to take all three. And I think that's even in the Steven Spielberg film where they got bot prostitutes. So it depends on what you mean by care. Any hoodles. But I thought that was fascinating. That's another one. Got to talk to your offspring about, because, woo, exactly what sort of jobs will be available. What are we, even going to be talking about? Manufacturing. Probably won't even be able to make a sweater. The bots will be doing that too. So, and then the last report about the attack. Young teen worker gets bitten, and they got the pictures of that one. I think this worker was non-white. Again, with all, I remember having this conversation with a non-white mommy previously, and her teenage child was working, and I said, man, and he was working in a retail environment. I said, oh my Lord, they got drug addicts and drug users and criminals and miscreants and racists. Man, they will come in there and kill you over a Twinkie. You got the ad, did you pay for that? Where's your receipt for that Tootsie Roll? And they pull out a razor or a gun or both, or be ready to headbutt you or bite you as they, did to that teen. Like, oh my Lord, that's why I said you'd have to have a conversation about, hey now, I don't know what job this is. You working at Baskin Robbins, the ice cream parlor, or wherever, but there cannot be any job you are a teen that is worth your life, or really you being mauled, like you got to chase somebody down because you think they stole something, they don't have proper proof that they paid for this item or whatever, and you got to go chase them down the alley. Come on. It would have been totally different. It was a non-white female there, and he said, oh man, I know a little jujitsu, and I'm going to make sure that he doesn't victimize, hurt this young lady, something like that. Or if it had been a non-white child, totally different. But woo, something like that, what do you want them to do? Self-defense for sure, but what do you want them to do? What do you want them to even be thinking for something like that? And even, hey, they might have to be aware it's likely something like that could happen depending on where you work, especially if they serve liquor, alcoholic beverages. Oh man, it's very likely that something like that could occur. So how would you want them to respond? Be thinking about that in advance. So if something like that does happen, they're not shocked and say, what did you say to me? Suburb, B-word, what? Why would you call me? None of that. Like, oh yeah, mom told me something like this. Okay, let me remember. We talked about dude that might have a weapon. Let me go ahead and call the police. That sort of thing. Very dangerous. I keep saying that we're in such a dangerous environment that we cannot, be stunned that something dangerous happened. That's the system of white supremacy racism. Even if you know jujitsu, maybe that's a plus. I still don't want to be bitten. And those bites looked really bad. Like they said in the audio, got his entire mouth and just pit bull, white dog, and 6 times. Like, come on. Talk to your offspring about racism and the dangers of the workplace and your experience in the workplace as a victim of racism. The number 720-716-7300, the code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let us know. Like I said, have you been talking with your offspring? Racism, white supremacy in the workplace. What sort of conversations have you had? Let us know. Super important, especially if you have younger people who, I know we know a lot of folks. We've talked about folks who they are working even before they get to college, right? They might have a little job in high school, that sort of thing. Super important because a lot of those folks get mistreated and abused as well. Out and out racism sometimes. 15, 16, 17. That little fella, I think, was 18, 19 that got bitten. So, any hoodles. Let's see. Double check, make sure I'm not missing any of our emails. Let's see. No, I had while I'm pulling up my email, I know I had a slight delay in getting rolling. I was talking to a non-white person about the workplace, no less, and it was almost right across the street. So I was thinking, oh man, this will be really quick and I'll be ready to roll. And then it ended up taking up a little bit more time, although it was exclusively dialogue about racism. So I didn't feel, but punctuality, I talk about that all the time. Punctuality, and if you can't be early, be on time. Say that constantly. Any hoodles. Let us know, especially if we have attempted parents. Let us know if you have been chatting with your offspring. Dangers of the workplace, what has been said in some of those conversations that they seem to grasp, even sharing some of the experiences that you've had in the workplace with your offspring. Does that, seem to help them grasp the dangers and what they'll have to look out for, help them be a little bit more logical, have, I guess more sober expectations about what they can look forward to as victims of racism in the area of labor? We'll see. Folks who dialed in with a hand up, Bay Area mom, or I'm assuming, start to the brand new school year down in California. Bay Area mom should be with us.
Hi, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Greetings to you. Thank you for taking my call. Were you asking a question for the attempted parents? Like, do I talk to the boy or the girl and about my experiences and things like that?
Well, I guess she's already answered because she's had her offspring dial in and, tell us about their work experience and school experience. So she's A+s there. Yeah, I did ask that for parents. It's crazy to even think her offspring have aged out, because I guess I said specifically if you have teen offspring and you don't have them anymore. So I reckon they aged out. But if you certainly are a gold star parent in this regard about talking to your children and continuing to talk to your offspring about racism. So yeah, anything to add, feel free.
Well, he always does a check-in. So even so just regardless where he works, there's always a check-in. If he feels like you could be practicing racism or anything, he's always calls and checks in and runs his day by me, or his weeks, because he doesn't call every day. And he's aware of little things because he, grew up with the program. He always checks in. So that's the good part about him participating in the program. He knows about the signs, so if anything is strange, he'll call in and ask me what I think about something or ask what I should do. So my workplace racism, Gus. So yesterday, okay, so I have the children that I have. One of them is a young man that's 8 years old. Well, everybody's 8. One is 7. The young man who just got there, who's 140 pounds. I had him today. So the child that I usually have, the one that bit me, the one I keep in that room, he wasn't there. He called in. So they was like, oh, okay, well, you can have this boy all day. So I just looked. So what, you have something else to do? I'm like, no, I'm at work. I'm just looking at you. And mind you, I'm giving the look because yesterday I got hit in the mouth because this boy, I heard him crying, and I'm in a room with the child that I have, and I hear him crying. So I know if he's crying, he's about to attack somebody. So sure enough, he's attacking both of the ladies. There's a lady that they just got hired maybe through a temporary agency. Both of them are through a temporary agency. But the lady, there's one lady that just got there this week. This is her trial week to see if she likes it. And, a lot of times when you're in a position to where you need to work, I think that's too, maybe that's why they hire different people too, because they need to be employed, they need to have an income. So she needs the job. They know she needs the job. So if she works out, they'll keep her. The thing is they're paying her through an agency. So I don't know how that works. They're gonna CPI. So I'm the only person CPI trained, except for maybe one case manager, some other lady that created this position for this vice principal position that's made it up out thin there. And maybe someone else that's in after school for whatever reason, but she doesn't work with us. So there's not a lot of people trained. So what they did today, they sent an email out to this young man, he's around my son's age, to say that they're going to train him and the guy, the manager of operations, the one who runs operations. So he's going to be trained. So just in case the young man wants to leave out the door, he can be trained to stop him because the young man tries to leave. We're totally catering to anything he wants to do. He's in control. It's whatever he wants, however he wants it. They changed his toileting back to 2 times a day. But I'm the one changing them. There's no one really trained to change them, even though they did some kind of training. There's no one there. I'm the one that changes them. So I guess they want me to do it twice a day. So I didn't do that. I didn't do it twice a day. I changed them once. It's not like he's soiled. I'm not tussling with anyone the same size as me. That's 8. If you don't want to go to the bathroom, I'm not fighting you to go to the bathroom. But I will do a 1 change. So there is one time where I have to be a little forceful for a 2 and 3. No, not unless you have stool on you or you're just leaking through your clothes. Other than that, no. So this morning he was leaking through his clothes. And mind you, it's not even 10 o'clock. Why is he that way? Did you change him from last night? That kind of stuff. So Mom came in today. She didn't speak. The lady that was attacked, so the lady that's been there with him from day one, didn't come in today. So I had to take her spot. And then the new lady that's on trial, she was there. So I was with her. So I'm just, okay. So, like, are you okay? No, I mean, I'm at work. What do you need me to do? So my full day was with him except for with this other little young man that's 7 because they still need me. I had to change him. And they need me to do academics with him. So I'm with this boy all day. He goes downstairs early. He leaves early. He leaves and doesn't even have his shoes on. He didn't even stop to put his shoes on or anything. He just goes. So if you don't want to have a fight with him, you just do what he says. So now they have us. We have chest pads that we're wearing, or so we can wear so he doesn't bite our nipples off. And we have the football. I call it a sparring pad, but it's like, the pad that you made whole, and maybe the kid, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe the kids run into it or something, but I normalize it as a sparring pad because I know when you're sparring, you can use it to punch. Versus, I don't know what the guys do with that in football, but other people connect it as that. So anyway, we have 2 of those for him, and we have talkies or something. I guess if we need help, we're gonna call people for help. So I had to have somebody use it yesterday, and she's just standing there, and I'm just like, could you call and get some help because I'm with another person. I only came out to help you, so you guys still need help, and I got to go back where I was. So that happened. But the mom came in today. She asked did he owe me an apology, and I was like, maybe so. So not like I really want to hear the apology because I don't care, but I'm not going to do the kid like that. So I'm listening. He wasn't a sorry. It was like maybe the sign language, she can force him to do all that stuff. And then she wants to know what happened, what else made this happen. Now, mind you, been fighting with this boy ever since he's gotten there. So she wants to know what happened, what's the context. Now, she doesn't speak to me in the same way that she will the non-white, non-black people that help her with him. She lets the rest of the staff know, though, that you got to watch how you talk and don't say this about him and watch this. And then she said yesterday, but she wasn't talking to me. And you're not going to be able to talk about him in front of him. So you got to take that outside. This is how she's talking to the people. No big deal. She's even told the case manager that whatever, if you want to brief me on his day, you're going to have to not do it in front of him. But today, she did all that talking in front of him. All this stuff, she wanted to know what happened and all this. So the other lady told her that his iPad died. So when his iPad died, he didn't want to wait for it to charge. He didn't want to use the other one. He wanted the one that died. And he just got mad and started attacking them. And, you can't just be in his face. So you just what you have to do is just plug it up, because he's probably trying to get out of here. So she just said all this stuff. And, I'm not worried about you because I know you were de-escalated, so you had to do what you had to do. So, but with y'all, you guys, are you trained? I don't like the way this is going in here. Now, mind you, the staff that has to work in the little lower bottoms, us, we're the ones getting attacked. I don't get as attacked because I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe. I don't know. But I do use my training if I must. But you can't hold him because he can't breathe, his asthma, because she has him so big. He's huge, his stomach, and he likes his pants. Like when I change him, I'll try to put this undergarment over his stomach, but he prefers it to sit up under. And, anytime we have stomachs like that, that's a health issue. So, this poor baby has a stomach that goes over his everything, and he likes his clothes under it. I like it on top, and I like everything covered as well. It's just hard for him. He does everything, even toileting. I have to take his iPad, so you could just at least help me help you. Here, pull your pants up. He doesn't like we're ready to fight. He tried to attack the girl yesterday because she was in there with me, but I don't know what she was doing with his hands, but he just tried to squeeze her. So I'm just like, hey, let me get over here with you, and I don't know what you're going to do, but I almost don't even need you in here. So, they don't help. I'm just, right. Once you get him out, once we're done in the bathroom, he's going on an adventure. He just roams to school, he goes to the gym. Now, mind you, we have a PE teacher, and in the gym, the PE teacher uses the gym. The PE teacher has to share the gym with this child because this child is just roaming around the gym. It's ridiculous. Even the place at the stage of the gym, the child is up there, so he can't even use that constructively as his little office space or working space because the child is everywhere. The child just encroaches anywhere. So, I'm tired. I'm drained. My neck hurts because I have to do all this. I have to just jump and run and go to help other people from getting hurt. And I don't know if the girl's coming back tomorrow. I could call off if I want to, but I need my timesheet signed, so I'm going to work tomorrow. But I'm going to pick a day, and I'm not going to come in. But I don't want to do it tomorrow. I want to do it on a day where you really need the help so you can figure it out and sweat like we're running around there sweating, trying to accommodate somebody that doesn't even need to be at that school. Thus, we are doing respite care of this boy at the school. There is no there's no pair of educator in this. We are keeping him content. The only reason why I think sometimes he comes upstairs after so many hours is because he's hungry. And his lunch, we don't grab his lunch and take it downstairs, so he has to go up there and just want to eat his food. But still, he's still dysregulated because whatever's going on, he has 5 iPads, and then she doesn't even charge him all the way. It's like 50% when he got there, and there's another one, so you got to go upstairs to get the other one, and then he's ready to fight you because he wants to go back downstairs. It's just, then he just sits on the stairs, so that's a hazard because you're sitting on the stairs. All your stuff, his mom calls it business papers, they're just pictures of scenes from Wheels on the Bus. And it's just a mess. So I told whoever, this vice principal of the school lady, I said, look, this is not his space. I took my lunch. I finished to do this. This is not the space for him. He hit me in my mouth. Oh, no. Hey, look, I'm trying to help somebody else, and I get hit. So this space, nobody can do the work that needs to be done for this child. So what I heard was I went to the, because I have they allow me to be in the medical, mental health part with people with speech, occupational therapy, BCBA, counselor, psychologist. I'm able to be in that setting. So what they said was, but look, ma'am, look, this is the fastest they've ever tried to get somebody out of a school. It's just this. When that white lady came up in there, because I remember telling you about the white lady that came and thought she was going to observe, and she ended up having to put her hair in a ponytail and help. So she saw how he acts. She came another day and then just watched how we're just now. The thing is, okay, no, there's no barriers. Let him do whatever he wants. But that doesn't make any sense. So now they're going to push for, there's a meeting tomorrow with the mom and then another meeting next week with the regional department to let them know this isn't the school for him because they don't want to lose all of us. Because that's what will end up happening because you need us for these other kids too. We're not just with him, but you can't just hire people from the agency. You need us as well. And even though I'm through the agency, I'm worth my weight. So you can't split me in half, and you need me in in all of the spaces. So we'll see. I want to see how it goes. I'm very drained and agitated. I'm agitated with Mom because so when she was sitting in there for 45 minutes asking all these questions and saying all this stuff, she wasn't, disrespectful to me or anything. She's just talking and complaining, but I'm watching this boy grab her boobies. So he's grabbing her boobies, and he grabs boobs too. And remember, I said he had bit the lady's boob, or breast, sorry. He's grabbing her breast and the mom. And he's grabbing her face and just over kissing and all this stuff. She's like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with this. This is the mom. So if you don't feel comfortable with whatever he's doing, what are we supposed to do? And he doesn't even talk. So I'm going to mute my line. Thank you for taking my call.
Wow. Much obliged, Bay Area mom. When you play around with sex, Dr. Welsing, new school year. Dr. Welsing. I guess you said it like a few times, that she was drained. Like, that is the impact of a massively stressful, abusive, I would even say, work environment. Like, yes, time off. And the school year just, commenced. Time off. Sooner the better. Go to the farmer's market or, talk with the children. Both. Who knows? But, I pay attention. Like when people are, the plantation is stressful anyway. Most of us don't have our so-called dream job. But, man, when it's, I'm just feeling especially, stressed and just drained, and that is something to take note of. And particularly if there have been, significant events, being hit in the mouth, that might count. And even being hit in the mouth when attempting to aid another coworker. This isn't even like one of her, she didn't say this was a student of hers she was on assignment with. They were doing this, they were doing that. I'm, trying to help out someone else, and man, that the workplace dangers, right? We're talking about the young teen who got bit, and then same thing came up then, that he was in a totally different work environment, but we still got stories about folks being bitten. Bay Area mom had told us last week where some of her coworkers were not taking this serious, I guess, the dangers of working with some of these students and not putting their hair up and all the rest of it, even though the child had been, she said, I think pulling hair out, not just pulling it, but pulling it out of the skull. Hey, put that in a ponytail. Let's be serious about the work environment that we're in. We're not here to be cute and all that. We, want to be serious and protect ourselves. Safety. But she said they got the chest protectors and all this. And I said last week, like, wow, I'm sure, everybody wants to be safe, and the young fella is acting out and all that, 140 pounds. But wow, that is, I'm at school and they got militarized riot gear to come and teach me algebra. Like, man, that is, I would feel some type of way. I would feel some type of way, but safety first for sure. And she said, hey, they can end up losing staff. And I think she told us last week, Bay Area mom, she said that a lot of the lower level staff that are being bitten, having their hair pulled out, punched in the face, that a lot of these folks, they don't have health benefits. So if they have to go get medical care, or even, if they can't work a number of days, that's on you. You got to go to the doctor or anything about these hits or being bitten or anything, that's on you, and saying, man, that, gee whiz, like, I got to be doing the most dangerous work, and then I get the worst compensation, that the staff who they get all the goodie benefits and all that, they're the ones that don't have to come work with this child and taking a chunk out of them and all the rest of it. She told us that in detail last week, and I think she even told us about the racism in that, of course, in terms of it's more white staff who they got all the good benefits and everything, even though they don't have to get beaten on and bitten. Any hoodles. All of the, you want to talk about throwaway children. Certainly, Dr. Welsing and all that, talking about before we get to the bedroom and us making better choices about producing children that'll be classified as black in a system of white supremacy. But this whole environment, is there like a plan? Even if it's, wait a minute, we've done our assessment and this child is going to require resources that we cannot meet. Like, let's get to that and stop wasting time. Like she said, we're providing respite care, and it's not even quality respite care. She told us last week, we got fruit by the foot. Isn't that it? I said the number one ingredient is sugar. That's what I mean. It's not even quality respite care. We don't have a plan for these children that, got toilet issues or whatever. We've heard like that a number of times, and every time it's the same thing. There is no plan. this is like a serious problem, even if it's just, being ostracized by other students. I mean, you talk about someone who has academic deficiencies or what have you, or, maybe I don't want to participate in class in a correct manner, or maybe I don't even socialize in a correct manner. Having toilet issues, that might be one. We got all these folks, many of them white, with all these highfalutin degrees, all these hours that they took classes and lectures and notes and books that they can brag about that they read, maybe. And we can't get no plan together for, and we've had a number of students, like I said, Bay Area Mom has told us about a number of them. We don't have no plan, like, we've seen this before, bang, this is the plan, we make sure they got clothes already to the side, boom, boom, boom. Or even if it's, wait a minute, we don't have the resources to help this child. They're going to need a different facility. They don't even do that. They just do, like I said, it's poor quality respite care. Warehouse you, they put you in the office and snicker about it. They put you in the sensory deprivation, cellar, solitary confinement. The office. Anyway, but in value, right connected with the drain, I thought it was so important. She said, I'm going to take a day off when they really need me, because he hit me in the face, in the mouth. That ain't cool. But I feel really drained. This child is taking all these resources that we can't meet. We don't have any plan for this, and boom, boom, boom. And I just feel drained. He said, I'm going to take a day off. I'm going to wait. In fact, I'm going to take a day off when they really need me. So I'm going to get my timesheet signed tomorrow. Brilliant. But I'm going to take a day off when they really need me. Always get your timesheet signed. I said, man, there you go. There you go. Know your worth. He said, I don't get hit a lot. Some of it is not magic and all that. Some of it is I use my training. And I think she's told us before that apparently not everyone there has been adequately trained even to deal with these children. That's just another, part of it. I look at throwaway children. We don't even, really, y'all are in Bay Area, California. You got Cal Berkeley right there, University of San Francisco, all the community colleges and what have you. Cal Davidson, you got all those resources. We can't get correct training. Make sure we can maybe get some extra funding, Nah, just do the rest of it. We put them in the sensory deprivation. Yeah. And give them another, we got the fruit by the foot. We got another pack. We go and give them another fruit. Come on. Let's see, but know your value as an employee. There'll be lots of different ways where non-white people in particular are, and they, like she said, they know we need a job. Got to have a job on the plantation. Get your few nickels or what have you. No, even if you have to take a job for a brief period of time or what have you, don't lie to yourself about that, and try to, as best you can, even from the weak position that we're in, do as best as you can to get that corrected. We all want correct compensation. Be keeping tabs of what you do, hours worked, all of that. If there's a reason that they're able to do some of this is because I haven't been adequately trained, let's get that training today. Anywhoodles, but bravo, get that day off, especially because you said more than once you are feeling drained, and I can understand why. Get that time off and enjoy, maybe even a couple days off, and really do some self-care and rejuvenate. Anytime you get like physically assaulted in the workplace, like, man, that is massive. We talk about self-care, and Dr. Welsing saying that we don't qualify for black mental health as victims of racism. That is an illustration right there. And a lot of times it's not physical. This time acutely physical, being busted in the face, but dang. the amount of violence that we experience in the workplace. Man, Dr. Welsing says she talked to lots of folks. She talked to lots of black patients about, trauma that they experienced in the workplace. She said that all the time. Much obliged, Bay Area mom. Let's see. Other folks, and I said that specifically, I asked if we had folks who had been assaulted in the workplace. If you have any sort of, code, what would you tell your offspring, about the dangers of being violently attacked in the workplace, and how to avoid, how to be alert about that, and then how you would want them to respond. Let us know. Is this a conversation that you've had with your offspring so that they can be prepped? If it's not, you should. Male or female. Male or, in fact, they just had a report in Milwaukee. I guess I didn't play it this week because I already had a lot of reports. I think we had like a good 30 minutes worth of audio, what have you. But they had a report and talking about DoorDash, because we talked about that a lot as well. It was a young lady, black female in Milwaukee, and she was doing DoorDash. She went to deliver chicken wings, and I think to a black female. This is on video. I think I did share it. I just didn't play it on Neutralizing Workplace Racism. But something happened with the order where it got canceled, or something happened, whatever went down. The chicken wings were not delivered, as opposed to the person who ordered these wings contacting the establishment to get the order canceled, to make sure that they're not charged incorrectly, putting in a new order so that they can get the wings delivered after all, going to pick the wings up themselves, making their own wings at home. Lots of, different options here to correct this wing fiasco. The person decides, I am going to go track down the DoorDash delivery driver and vandalize their vehicle. Like they took a hammer or a crowbar and cracked their windshield, broke like the tail. I think they did like thousands of dollars worth of damage over an order of chicken wings that didn't even total $50. And they talked to this black female, young lady too. And they talked to her after all this is over, and they're showing her vehicle, and she said, there's thousands of dollars worth of damage to my vehicle. And I can't even drive the car. And look at this. And are you serious, over an order of wings? And I think she even went to, she found her vehicle. I think she even went and knocked on the door. She did. They showed the video. The perpetrator, she went and knocked on the driver's door. And when, I don't know if that she was going to go upside her head too, but she knocked on the door. No one answered, and then she went and vandalized the vehicle and departed. Presumably, she went and got her wings. After all that was done, she worked up a good appetite. But that's what I mean about the work environment. Like, Jesus Christ, and specifically those delivery type jobs. Oh my God. What if she had gone to this person's house and she forgot the ranch? The wings were cold. These were lemon pepper wings. She ordered honey barbecue. Now I got you in front of me. Messed up my man. That's why I said you have to talk to because this was a young lady. She wasn't, some grandmother and thing like that. No ageism. I'm just saying this was a young person. Like, you have to talk to. It's a lot of young people, right, that do DoorDash and delivery, make a little money. You have to talk to your offspring. Woo. The system of white supremacy is astronomically dangerous, and particularly if you are classified as black. Oh man, anybody. White people, non-white people, they will be so fast. I'm not putting up with nothing from Leroy. I'm not putting up with nothing from Lakeisha. I'll bust you, messed over my wing. You have to be aware of that because, man, it is danger. And over something as simple as you wouldn't even think that, man, is this a potential, death warrant because I didn't complete the wing. To what? Yes. Over, what do we put it at? $20 order wings? I said 50. We'll put it in. I mean, I don't think it was 50 because it didn't look like it was no banquet, but okay, we'll say 50. $50 of these are going to be some of the best wings you ever had in your life. And I didn't get them, so now I got to cause $5,000 damage worth of your vehicle. But I'd be glad I didn't get my hands on your neck. Whew. We have any other folks who have been assaulted in the workplace, or if you did the assaulting, hopefully not. Hopefully this was a long time ago, Opalaka 3 type thing, long time ago. You've learned from the mistakes and doing better now. But we have any folks who've dealt with assault in the workplace, let us know. 720-716-7300, the code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let us see. Other folks who dialed in with a hand up. Line should be open. Proceed.
Hello.
Greetings, Irie in Louisiana. Katrina still was ongoing. This time 20 years ago, we were watching CNN, Soledad O'Brien. Yeezy, I don't even think had made his outrageous commentary about our president, but September 4, and in fact, I think the Danziger Bridge shooting was on September 4. I have to look back to see the exact date, but yes, Katrina would still be ongoing 20 years from now. Irie.
Yes. Well, I was just thinking about what you asked about being assaulted in the workplace. When I was on my way out of the military, I wasn't too far from getting discharged by the, seemed like the people around me didn't want that for me. Someone very high in rank invited me to a physical altercation, and he's a white male, and I was absolutely perplexed. Of course, I didn't engage, and there was no reason for it other than he was incited by some incident between him and a black male that was lower in rank, and the black male basically was about to, fulfill his request for a physical altercation, but it got broken up, and then for some reason he didn't tell himself, the white male, let me go sit down somewhere and calm down. He came into where I was working on the computer and challenged me, and I just, at the time, victim of racism, I didn't know what else to do. I just told him, God bless you, and sat back down and continued to work. And I thought about if he had a weapon on him at the time or not, but I also, for some reason, felt, I believe, the universe was conspiring with me to just say, God bless you, to diffuse the situation, and it worked. But I used to joke and say he had a crimson neck. That's a metaphor, but now I know it's literally a race soldier. I had called to share that there was an incident a couple weeks ago where someone on the works of the library, where I'm one of the people on the board, went around summarily and extemporaneously firing staff. But no one can do that, not even the executive director, because there's a union. But a lot of the people who, I don't know if they would classify as white Hispanic, some of them are very emotional. I mean, emotional to the point that a patron came to me with a complaint and a concern, I should say, about how she inquired about some legal notices that are put in the library, which affect people when it comes to eviction. And if you don't know that you're in court in having proceedings for eviction, the sheriff has to take these notices to 3 public places, one being the library, another is City Hall, another is it keeps a copy in the sheriff's office. So when the patron asked about any policy regarding public notice within the library, one particular staff she had a breakdown. She started crying and she was like, I don't know. And I'm like, I've been telling them for a while. Some of these people don't need to be in customer service. They need to be in the back. They need to be sorting the books out. Take them off the front desk, please, because, you know, there are certain black people that go with emotional issues. I've had a lot of middle-aged and older black women who need a variety of things, and they're more short-tempered. So them two things ain't going to work well together, in my opinion. And there is some newer staff, but nonetheless, I'm not trying to make too long of a trail. The point is, this same person, you know, she freaked out, and I know she can't handle other situations. And so I think she was one of the people that was told, hey, you're fired. And I don't know if this particular board member was going through a mental breakdown or what, but I know she's gotten, and I'm not trying to use a metaphor, she's literally gotten flip and sassy with me in board meetings. I'm talking, saying stuff, then she comes and like literally cuts me off. So it got to a point that I just looked at her like one time and I just put my finger on my lips. And she stopped talking. And I was like, ooh, that was kind of belittling. But then again, it wasn't actually. It was just a nonverbal signal like, you need to just be quiet because I'm talking. So that same person, when it was firing people and we had an emergency special meeting about it, so I said, you know, I've been trying to get these board members to be more engaged with the library because there's a lot y'all don't know. Y'all don't come during peak hours when these people are dealing with the homeless population. You're not here when there's kids running around with no parents to watch them. Y'all not here to see to hear what they're saying they need like I am. So why don't you come for yourself? And then why don't we try to give a helping hand? Because obviously in certain instances they're short-staffed, and this would be like a good type of penance now to show that we're actually sorry about what happened and that, you know, she no longer represents the rest of us. Another reason why I suggested it is because I do a lot of, like, volunteer. I'll just go to the library and wear a badge, and if people need help on the computer, I'll help them. If they need help looking for books. I had a black male. He might have been in his 20s, and I think this was his first time getting a library card, and he was looking around, and the girl that was emotional that said, I don't know. I saw him ask her a question, and she was very quick, and then she went back to looking at her phone. So I decided to ask if he needed further help, and he was like, yes, I'm trying to find some books. I said, okay, what are you interested in? He said, I'm interested in Black history and anything else at this point. So I said, okay, well, let me show you real quick the nonfiction section, and then you're going to have your section sorted out by these numbers, you know. I said, but hold on, let me get somebody to help you, because I actually was at the library for another purpose at that point, which I'm also going to get to. But he left there with 5 books for him, and then they had already checked out the books for the child that was with them. And if it would have been left up to her behind, he probably wouldn't have left there with no books because she didn't want to help him. So nonetheless, we have problems on both ends, the board and the librarians. I decided to just take initiative and show some goodwill toward the staff by going into the library and cleaning the computers off, because I was in the library one time and this man came up and in front of me talking to the staff. He said, I don't know what's on this computer keyboard, but it's absolutely gross. It's some kind of sticky substance all over the keyboard. And I hate to say this, but they got a couple people that have been put out for fondling themselves in the public areas where the computers are. There's like a little bit of a secluded area where you could use computers. No, he decided, I'm me. and I'm going to do it where broad daylight. I had to assume that could have been that biological fluid, and it embarrassed me. So I said, well, let me just go, and if they don't want to join me yet, I'm going to go and I'm going to wipe down every single computer, because I actually want to see how dirty these computers are, too, because I have been told over and over, it's filthy in here, it's filthy in here, and they weren't lying. And this stuff is so caked up. I'm talking about, like, there was one keyboard you would have thought it might have been the same keyboard that icing, like cinnamon roll icing, was on the keyboard. And I did wear PPE, gloves. I'm like, when is the last time this stuff been wiped down? Even the desks or the counters. I think the proper word when dust meets grease is film, huh? Or is it grind? Or is it both? It was that. And I'm like, this is not right. It would discourage me if I was like a person with OCD, germaphobe, etc. I pick up a book and there's a slick substance on it, and then I see it on the shelf, I wouldn't go back. So another thing I've been trying to push is ALICE training, because I'm trying to show patrons that have mentioned it would be very useful to us as parents. And I know I've been harping on this a lot, but hey, it's for good reason at this point. They keep saying, why doesn't the library host something? Because we can't get the school to do it. The police won't do it. The executive director contacted the police to ask if they would host a training there so parents could get certified in ALICE training and be familiar for their kids' sake. They refused. I was absolutely perplexed. But you can do it directly from ALICE. If you go on like ALICEtraining.com, you can contact the people. So I asked the executive director to do it. I'm like, because let's stand out, number one, as a library that is conscious and considerate of the times. Number two, patrons are expressing this as a desire, so are you going to listen to the patrons? You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if there was a number three. I can't remember no more. But that's just something I wanted to share. But, like, I don't even remember what the central point was no more. But that's what happened. Crazy board member, emotional staff, and then just filth in the library. But I do have, as they would say in Church of Praise report, I was able to get the book by Mr. Wiegand in the library rather quickly, too. I brought it up at a board meeting, and they ordered it, but they did put it on the bottom shelf of the display case. Yeah. So I guess I would listen to suggestions for how I could try to get the board to take me up on this act of, like I said, I don't have the right word for it now. Excuse me, I grew up Catholic. Penance, repentance, consideration or reconsideration toward them. Because, like I said, I do a lot of volunteer stuff, and they said in a meeting, the relationship between the board and the union is completely wrecked because of this particular board member. And I worked very hard to let these people know that I was a listening ear. I can't give them what they want, but I definitely won't be hesitant to speak up about their concerns, because that's what I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm supposed to be doing anyway. And I'm also there to tell the rest of the board, don't you want to hear directly from them? You should. So I think I'm going to read my line now. And there's no update on the tutoring thing right now. Still trying to figure that out. I'm recruiting, trying to recruit black males to help with the tutoring service, since the athletic club is mostly boys and mostly non-white. So I'm recruiting right now, but there's no update on it, just so you know. Okay, I'll mute my line now. Thank you.
great report from Irie. That is commendable to go in, volunteer at the library and help out some patrons and tidy things up a bit. Like, that is bravo. Just the privileged black male tried to get books. Said, oh, no. She got back on her phone. The white woman at the desk. She went, helped out, privileged black brother, ended up getting 5 books in addition to what he got for his offspring. It was supposed to be 0. They had already set it up. See, Leroy comes in. Excuse me, could you help me? Get out of here, Leroy. Ah. Rapist pretending to read. You know you're illiterate. Get on it. Yeah, get out of here. I'll get security. And she said he was quiet. He didn't sit down and, you are going to serve me. Who do you think you are? I am Leroy. And she said, fine, okay. Won't get no books today. No reading for Leroy. Privileged black male. And she said they got Dr. Wayne A. Wiegand's book in rather short order, In Silence or Indifference, which is all about the whole history of, hey, do you think get out of here. And particularly you come in, do you have any books written by Negroes or about it? We got the Bible. That's it. Get out of here. Raping Negro. You don't read no books, no way. That's the whole history in a nutshell. What is Wayne A. Wiegand's book about? Former guest on the Cows. No books for Negroes. And he mentions Louisiana specifically, among many other places around the country. That is a new book. She even said the racism and the placement. See, when they get new books, and I know because I seen what they do with, The Hate U Give. They'll put up big, massive displays and show it off. And, ooh, new American classic. Ooh, and they'll put 50 copies of it. They didn't do that for In Silence or Indifference. She said they put that on the bottom shelf. Like, Anyway, the cleaning, that is so tacky, like, particularly for a library where you're going to have a lot of black patrons, children, people who don't have Wi-Fi, and you have the worst computers. They're going to be just grime and filth and trash. Nobody ever clean. Like, come on. That right there, if I don't have a computer and the only computers I have, like, they got a layer of toxic waste on the, like, what? Man. Digital divide, they'll call it. Well, we could clean the keyboard. Matter of fact, the young lady, she said, the black brother came up and said, you got any books? Get out. And she got back on her phone. You could have took 5 minutes. Let me wipe the keyboard off. I'm on the clock. Let me wipe the keyboard off. Let me see. Got a few texts and catch up on right here. They got rules about that on some jobs. You're not supposed to be on your personal phone device while you're on the clock. Any hoodles, as for, and she said they got apparently lots of customer service problems at the library where people come up and ask for questions, and or they'll come and ask for questions. Oh, I don't know, and they just wig out and get emotional. Like, wait a minute, aren't they supposed to have training? I thought you're supposed to have like a degree. They make you go to school and everything to train to be a librarian. You're supposed to be like a professional question answerer. Like, I come to the library with questions. Boy, Leroy, you came to the right place. Now, what type of book you trying to get? Frederick Douglass? Let me tell you all about Frederick Douglass. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. Like, oh my goodness, not what? You came and asked me a question? Me? A question about book? Ooh. Come on now. Come on. If you got, did you get a fake diploma? Is this one of them old diploma mill library degrees? Like, wait a minute. Come at minimum, she said, you should be in the back. They got a whole lot of jobs at the library. They got a lot of filing stocking. You can do all that. Go out there, get the men. When people hand in the book, go out there and get the men. Bring those books in. They got to be restocked. It's a whole lot. Hey, get that rag and wipe down those keyboards. Lots of important work doesn't have to be public facing, as they say. As for them not being responsive to the patrons, I would keep presenting it in that manner. Like, patrons are asking for specific services. I thought we were supposed to be responsive to the lot. That's who we serve. Aren't we public servants? I get to stay in the question lane too. Aren't we public servants? This is what they're asking for. I mean, we have. Is there a reason that we're not going to provide this service? That's the way that I would frame it, you know. And consistent, especially if this is something legitimate, constructive, and it seems like it might be an act of racism to refuse this service just because we don't want the just like with the black male came in asking for the books. And they, get out of here. Got to get back on my phone. Beat it. Act of racism. Any hoodles. I feel like we always hear terrible things. She said the white woman would come into the library and steal books and cause a ruckus, and the keyboard, and the folks in there doing sexual activities and harassing and getting the black male who worked there in trouble. Like, it's always bad things at the library, which is exactly what Dr. Wayne A. Wiegand's book is all about. In Silence or Indifference in the C.O.W.S Archives. Tremendous book. Whew. Let's see. Victim should also be with us if you have commentary. Proceed.
Thank you guys for taking my call, and greetings to all the C.O.W.S listeners and callers. I'll go over a couple of the clips first. The clip about the fake jobs. I don't think my situation is exactly the same, but back when I was in college and looking for employment, people came onto the campus and they were passing out flyers about working for a company. The company was called Vector at the time. The training site was located very far from the school, so I had to take a bus there and then walk the rest of the way to get there. And they had like a training course for you to take before they decide if you could work for them or not. So through the course they teach you what they sell and how to sell it or whatever. Turns out we were supposed to be selling knives to people. I'm not sure if anybody had that similar experience. And at the end of the training, to start the process of working and making money, you have to put down $500 to purchase your sample equipment to start off. At that point, I spoke to my dad about it, and he said, well, no, this doesn't seem like a job. It seems like this is something else. Jobs are supposed to pay you. You're not supposed to pay the job. So that was an interesting clip. I believe the next one, they had something talking about the ICE enlistment and non-white people, applying for jobs. I guess they can because those jobs do pay well, and you have, connections to, or first-hand experience of what the job entails and how to do it, and maybe you can help you with other employment. So if non-white people want to apply for ICE, that's perfectly fine. I did think it was interesting that they stated that 50% of enlisted ICE agents were of Hispanic descent. I thought that was interesting. And I guess the person who he was telling a friend of his that he was going to enlist, and they said, I will never speak to you again. I thought that was interesting, considering that he is unemployed and trying to look for something. And like I said, his dad was deported too. He doesn't have his father in his house, so he has to be the breadwinner now, I guess, right? Head of household, quote unquote metaphor. I believe, Gus, you asked a question about being assaulted on the work site. I have an account of that, and I believe I spoke or told Cal's listeners about this before. Uh, I was working in the office, and I was, I guess, doing something else on the computer, and an employee came to me and asked me, "Well, I need you to do this right now, this other task." And I said, "I'm getting to it. Give me a second." And that employee ended up hitting me with their notepad, and right there next to us was the actual, I guess, supervisor. And the supervisor's only thing that she did was kind of physically remove the other person. And I ended up filing a complaint and going through that whole situation. At the end of that, I guess the investigator turned out there was no evidence to show that this had happened, even though the supervisor was right there. I guess when he asked supervisor, she said she don't remember or couldn't recall. Yeah, but that's one of the accounts I had with being assaulted on the job. I'll go to, I guess, a current situation that happened. It wasn't assault, but it was a situation where it could have been. At my new location I'm working at now, one of our employees was having a medical emergency. She was so lightheaded. This is a black female who was so lightheaded. Fingers have gone numb. So we rushed over to help her. The supervisor was instructing me to, could you go downstairs and retrieve the EMT workers? So I obliged. I went downstairs, waited for them to come in, and escorted them upstairs. But before we went upstairs, one of the EMT workers, I guess, I went to shake his hand. This is I believe, a non-white, non-black person. Went to shake his hand. He didn't seem like he wanted to shake my hand. And then when I was escorting him upstairs, there was another white, I guess, EMT worker, younger guy. And the whole time, when I was on the elevator with them, escorting him upstairs, he was staring at me through the corner of my eye. I could see him. And I thought to myself, maybe he could be upset that I'm a black male working in an office, and only way to get upstairs is me allowing him to come upstairs with the badge they gave me. That's what I was thinking. Once they got upstairs, they ended up talking to the black female who was having a medical emergency. And once they got her on the gurney and took her downstairs, the supervisor asked me could I go down there with them to, get the location on where they're going to take her in the medical vehicle, because they didn't know that yet until they got downstairs to, I guess, decide where they're going to take her. My supervisor decided to come downstairs with me at that point, because, well, maybe I should go with you just in case, anything. So we both went downstairs with them. We waited outside with the EMT workers about 30 minutes before they decided on where they could take her. That could be possibly due to, I guess, overcrowding in the different medical or different hospitals around here. But while we were waiting, one of the, I guess, people outside, could be a homeless person, black male, he came up to us, was yelling, "Hey, do you have my card?" And I was like, "No, we don't have your card." And then he started to get very aggressive with us, with me in particular. And then the security guards came from inside the building and kind of calmed him down and had him walk away. Fast forward, we ended up getting the location on where the employee was being taken to, because we had to make some paperwork, because we had to make an account of this happening in the office. So we went back upstairs, and later I found out that the male that was downstairs, who was being very aggressive, the homeless guy, he ended up assaulting a female next door at the post office. And then we heard a lot of noise, like police sirens, they coming to hit him, stuff like that was going on. So that was my account, or I guess it's almost assault. Wasn't me, what it was, situation that could have been, and an emergency situation we had to handle in the office. The area that we serve is a very depressed area, so you'll see a lot of homeless around there. And before we went back upstairs, there was another homeless black male. He came up to me and was like, "Could you help me? I need something, some shade or something like that." I physically couldn't touch him because that's not what we do. But the security guard was, kind enough to kind of call the paramedics for him too. He was also experiencing some kind of heat issues, stroke or whatever. So, yeah. So that's my account of what's going on this past week at the office. Thank you.
Wow. I don't know what the main point or takeaway we were supposed to take from your share, but mine was almost, man, black males are the worst. That was almost what I was thinking. Just, do you need something urgently and shiftless and lazy? Yeah, I'll get to it. Got a medical emergency? Hey, you got a cigarette? You got a dollar? I can assaulting. Black males are the worst. Much obliged. Victim. He said that his own incident of assault, when he's on the job and the white person comes up and says, "Hey man, I need you to get this done right now. Let's get it. Says, "Oh, right away. Let's just finish this up and I'll hop right on it." He said, "What? Boy, did you hear me?" Pow! And he smacks him with the notepad. He said the supervisor saw all of this and she said, whoa, you can't be smacking the coons. I know they get on your nerves, but you can't smack them like that. And she kind of pulls him away, and he correctly files a complaint report about all this. They say, unfounded, no evidence. He said, but the supervisor, well, she doesn't recall. Maybe you fabricated. They probably got Alexa and video of all of this, but gray area, he says he didn't smack.
Excuse me, Gus?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Just one correction. That event, that was all non-white people.
Oh,
and the
no.
one that assaulted me was unfortunately a non-white black female.
Oh. Black and I'm proud. Jesus Christ. I wanted it to be white people so bad, and man. Well, black culture. Anyway, maybe they were born outside the U.S. because we talk about them pretend black people all the time. So they probably didn't have 8 black great grandparents who were all born in the U.S. So
I'm sorry, Gus. No, they were black Americans.
Dang. You didn't check. How do you know? They all got dang. Fine. Black culture. Fine. Man, I did say just today, I said, hey, if you are classified as black, it is dangerous. Even other non-white people said, hey, I don't take no lip from Leroy or Lakeisha. You don't sass mouth me, tell me, I told this nigga boy, I need this done right now. You ain't gonna tell me, hey, hold on 1 second, I'm gonna get right to it. I snap, you get to it right now. That's one of those right there, like, ooh-wee. This is what I mean, you gotta talk to your offspring too, because I'm pretty sure if you were white, victim, cubed, I don't think that would have happened. I don't think no black female or a black male If you had been a white, I'm even saying older white dude, over 50, gray hairs and all, bald even, glasses, gay, queer, transgender. I don't think she would have got that notepad. And Bob, I need you to hop on this right quick. Bob turned and said, hey, yes, no problem. I'm going to get right to it. Just let me finish up last notes here. Hey, did you hear? I said, right now, Bob. Pow! Transgender lip from you. I don't take no sass mouthing now. Barely, you didn't even want to hire your old crotchety behind. I don't think they would have said that to Bob. Susan, white, queer, transgender, wheelchair. I don't think so. Whew, that's the sort of thing, too, that I say, oh, yeah, you have to tell your offspring, because it would be horrendous. You go on a job and get excited. And, my black brother, my black sister, we got the black pride. I can't believe it, boy. I've been looking for you. And then that sort of thing happen. Oh, man. What? Black brother, you gonna smack me with what? Black sister, you don't remember. What? Black and I'm proud. Ooh. And then we got another moment in Negro history. Medical emergency in the workplace. Another privileged black male comes up and is being aggressive and rowdy. They kind of shoo him away, and then he ends up assaulting a female. Like, what? We're already in the middle of a medical emergency. Jesus Lord. That's what, and that sort of thing right there, because he said I guess the neighborhood or area where the work environment is, it's kind of dangerous. That's why I said too, like, you have to be aware and honest about that. Like, same thing with Bay Area mom. Hey, we work with these students. They're violent. They're biting people, pulling hair. We work, dangerous environment, just to get in the building. You got people outside coming up. Hey, you got cigarette, you got a few quarters, whatever, all that, or go upside your head. You have to be aware of all of that and honest about all of that in that environment. That means, hey, we're going to have to leave in groups. And I think we had talked about that before. We're going to have to leave in groups. It can't be, because I think he said it was already dark when all this, the medical emergency and everything happened. And that's male, female. Can't be, and we're going, summer is over. Going to start getting darker earlier and earlier. Can't be no situation where we get off work in the summertime. Maybe you leave at 5, cool in the gang. Bright, sunny, day just started. You leave at 5 in November, December, man, it's midnight dark, at least in these parts. We're in a dangerous environment. We're going to leave in groups. Might have depending on how dangerous it is, I might have my finger on my pepper spray or what have you as we go out. Might even, that's another one. Talk to employers and such. Hey, we live in a dangerous environment. We just had a employee assaulted. What are we going to do to make sure that we can exit the building and get back to our loved ones, residents, safely? That would be a great question, because, hey, maybe this means you all need to get security. Maybe this means, a whole lot of things. We need to have a group system or whatever the case may be. But, hey, let's make sure that we have a flawless code so that all you talk about having an employee shortage. If we get mugged on the way out, man, you're going to be missing some employees, right? That's embarrassing. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, whew. And that's why I said it made me think, like, I don't know what he wanted us to take away from all that, but whew, that was in the front of my mind. Like, wow, black dudes are worthless. At minimum, dangerous. Oof. And then, because he said after that, it was even another black dude came and said, hey, black brother, you think you got, like, oh my God, is this the same one who just, like, get away, get away, I'll kill you. I told you, that's why you couldn't get no books at the library. Now get on out of here. Black male privilege. Why are all the black males, like, hurting? Seemed like it wasn't no black males in a Tesla or driving a Bentley, or the CEO, like all the black dudes are hurting, need a quarter. Privilege. Any hoodles, victim cued, even came back to me my error in thinking that it was white people who had smacked him around in the workplace and then said they conveniently forgot about it. Like, man, if anybody thinks that that would have happened to a white person, let me know. Even victim cubed, anybody, I mean, you let me know. Even if you hear in the archives, if you, I think, if it had been an old shiftless white dude or queer person and they were, sass mouthing and they not gonna get it done, I'd have smacked them upside the head too. Whatever. The number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Talk to your offspring. That's one too. And I do not have offspring. That's it. We do need to do a better job speaking with our children about racism and the workplace and our own work experiences. Something like that. Whew. And I pick out things like that because it's like, wow, that is so like, who wants to talk about that? Whew. My chest fills with pride every time I think of Negro pride and solidarity. Every time I think of that moment. Who wants to talk to your child about that? Ruin the whole breakfast. When, Gus T, for their birthday? When should we talk about that? I don't know the when, but it should be discussed, just like I said, for so many reasons, so that they can have a better appreciation. Wow, this is what my parents go through. This, when I'm in the store whining for things or asking for this, like, oh, this is what they go through. Oh, maybe, just maybe. And, oh, this is what I have to look forward to in the workplace? What? Jesus Christ. Why haven't y'all solved this racism thing by now? I got to look forward to that, which is a great question. Hopefully every child will ask that. Why haven't y'all been on your job to take care of this racism thing? I got to deal with all this? We've been shiftless? I don't know. Anyway, but that's the sort of thing, like, it is so important so that they'll have an accurate understanding of what to expect. And then they won't be stunned when these sort of events happen. Like, what? Oh my God, my black brother. I can't believe. Oh yeah, Dad did tell me. Oh yeah, Mom did. Yeah. Whew, man, I hope they got this recorded so I can file a report. And bravo for filing a report. I know we have some folks who take the, what shall I say, perspective that they wouldn't file that sort of report against a white person, or they wouldn't file that sort of report against a black person, like we're black brothers and blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Especially when it comes to any sort of physical violence, like, please. We should be about correctness in the workplace, doing the correct thing in the workplace, and keep your hands to yourself. You're not going to smack around no white person on the job, so definitely this is not going, Leroy and Lakeisha and got on my nerves. Like, pow, like, come on. And you got that anti-blackness. We talk about that all the time. Anti-blackness, massive product of the system of white supremacy. Ain't no black loving my black brothers and black sisters. I guess I should get in both of our sound clips. All right, here we go. We'll get in both of them because he said it was a black female who smacked him and black brothers. Yeah. All right. So we'll get in both of them real quick.
Black brother to hell.
All right, and then one more. Sister. There we go. All right. Very important to be truthful about that, especially to yourself and your offspring if they are classified as black, non-white. Don't be looking for no fist bump from Lakeisha and Leroy in the workplace. Other folks who dialed in.
Hey, Gus T, Victor from New Jersey. I wanted to give a report. It's real short, but so a friend of mine, you might as well, he's retired firefighter in Florida right now. He just moved to Fort Lauderdale. So he applied for a job. I think he just wanted something part time, maybe just like a maybe luggage handler, because he, you know, his idea was just to get the benefits of the airlines. Because if you work for an airline, the airline service, airline company, you can get benefits and discounts. So he was just kind of surprised that he was overlooked for the position, and that was a teachable moment, because I think so often, you know, people that are older, because it's this narrative that, you know, the youth is lazy, they don't want to work, and, you know, the economy isn't doing as well. And I noticed this, you know, during the pandemic, during that time, it was very easy for me to get employment. I mean, if I went on said website, Indeed, you know, I would get a call back from multiple companies. You know, so it's an indicator that the economy is not really doing well. But anyway, he was overlooked for the job. So, you know, so that sparked the conversation about, you know, now, you know, with his work history, you know, you would think, you know, getting a job, throwing luggage, no problem, he'll get it. You know, so right now, I mean, so I don't know to attribute that to ageism or if that's a thing or overqualification, because I'm assuming they will probably assume that, you know, somebody that's with the work history that he has might not stay that long, or possibly won't tolerate too much mistreatment because they can most likely walk off the job. So even with me, for example, I've been in the trucking industry for, 20 years or so. And, when I go to apply for jobs like supervisor positions, and I'm assuming, I'm saying, who would be more qualified for a supervisor position, such as myself. I've been, in the trucking industry for, 20 something years, but, a lot of times when I fill out for those positions, I never get called back. So I wanted to know, is anybody else that's retired, are they having issues with just finding part-time work? Are they overlooked because assumingly they're overqualified, or or it also, is it a thing where black males? I mean, are we once you put down that you're black, or do you guys get overlooked for supervisor positions even though that you have the position? I just want to know, is that a thing that other people are experiencing, whether it's being overqualified or even if you do have the experience, if you're black, you're not really being chosen for supervisor positions. So I just wanted to put that out there and see if anybody else has experienced that, or anybody else reported having those experiences. And I'll close.
Much obliged. A victim in New Jersey. I think we just heard from non-Clemson dad last week. He was applying for a supervisory position and was declined. Seemed like they gave it to a white woman who didn't have the same qualifications. certainly didn't have any sort of experience having that sort of job before. And we played the report last week. Now, they were focused more on black females, but they were talking about exactly what you just said, where you have black females specifically who are qualified, experienced, no criminal record, but they are over 40, and it's get on out of here. Nope, Lakeisha, beat it. And that I had even brought up, I was like, dang, because they said you might have to lie about your experience. You might have been on this job for, 20 years, 25 years. You might have to lie and tell them that you have 10 years experience so that they don't automatically weed you out. So it might be that this is pretty widespread, where black people in general do not get supervisory positions, even if they are super qualified, no criminal record, no intention of rape, whatever. We are looking for white people, or at least not black people, dare I say, particularly not black males who have a higher unemployment rate, seeming like it might even be more difficult for them to get any sort of job, period, much less supervisory position. So, yeah, I think it's pretty exactly what that black, and he was talking about slinging luggage. We just heard about that. I thought it was ironic because we've been talking about working at the airport for like 2 months, reading about Mary Kay Letourneau, her white husband, Steve Letourneau, who was widely described as like the lamest white man in the history of the world, like this no count sucker who doesn't wear the pants in his own family. And proof of his impotence as a white man was the fact that he worked as a baggage handler at the SeaTac airport right down the road from me. And they talked about how that wasn't a glamorous job. You don't make very much money. So the fact that this black male is saying, dang, I can't even get that job? Like, dang, that's not no glorified. You don't get a big office and put your feet up. I mean, you're slinging suitcases, Like, I guess they're saying, Leroy, you don't come in here and traffic your narcotics and put in other people's luggage and bags and stuff, I guess. But it might have just been, we do not hire black males in particular, because we've heard about a lot of unemployed black males just today and throughout, but we don't hire black males particularly. And then if you're older, black period, it might be more difficult. Also something to share with your offspring, that is the system of white supremacy. I mean, they get tacky about it. Last hired, first fired, and you being qualified has nothing to do with it. That's even something, because I don't know what the qualifications are to pick up a suitcase. I really don't. I've filled out an application at SeaTac, and I normally try to avoid checking a bag, but I don't think you have to get no 4-year college degree to get. Matter of fact, I rewind to the report we heard today about ICE. I didn't hear them say that they were going to recruit Leroy, Jamal. We got lots of these Negro males end up out here smuggling narcotics, doing criminal things because they claim that they can't get a job. Well, hey, ICE is hiring. Come and in fact, help keep your country safe. That's not what they said. Now, maybe they're doing this. That's not what I heard in the report, though. They said ICE is 50% so-called Latino. They didn't even give the statistic. How many Negroes work for ICE? Irritated Jeannie, how many Negroes work for ICE? Are you recruiting? Do you go to the HBCUs to get black people to get jobs there? That's a government job, too, right? You get the benefits and all that. Not that I'm encouraging black people to work for ICE. I'm just saying. Let's see if other folks can let us know if you try. Matter of fact, caller at the courthouse, I think with us as well, he said he did an experiment to see how many black people did they hire, and he said specifically black males. Oh no, don't think you gonna come down to the courthouse and get no job here. We don't need no Negro male bailiffs. We don't need no Negro males in the civil section. We don't need no Negro males in the segregated area. Get on, I need not apply. I think he said they hired one recently. So now we got 6 Leroys, and been saying the whole time, we trying to get rid of him. We don't want, it's really only supposed to be 5. We trying to get rid of him every day. He can correct me if I'm wrong on the numbers, but it won't know we got no 15 Negro males here or 25. It was like 6. I told you they just hired 1. It was like 6. And a begrudging 6 like them said, man, I remember the good old days when it was 0 or 1. Oof. Now we got him. Anywho, the number 720-716-7300, the code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Other folks who doubt.
Can I add something? I'm sorry.
Caller in New Jersey? Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add as well, because you said something, and then before I lose my get this fall out of my head, my friend's wife has a very good job. Works at a tech company. Well, a tech company that makes electronics. And I mean, she travels across the world for meetings, things of that nature. She just had a meeting in Japan. The company their headquarters is in Japan. So he asked her, how many Leroys do you work with? 0. So that sparked a conversation when we start talking about, how worthless, Leroy is and why he just can't get it together. And, and she said none. And if they are black males, they're on the, how can I say, sexually compromised side of, if you get my, if you understand what I'm saying, they're either like kind of, homosexual in nature, but there are no black males working in this job. And she's making a little over 200,000 a year. I mean, she even is assigned like a company car, so this is a very, good job. And just to add also to the discussion, I have another cousin, and she's a nurse, and she was telling me maybe some weeks ago, she was saying, she worked entirely hard to become a nurse, to find out that, there's a network of just cheating going on where, people are just, they have the answers, for these statewide tests, mainly, people that come from overseas and other, foreign countries. They have a whole kind of like cheating network, and she just felt kind of like, okay, I'm busting my tail. At the time, she had 3 children, and, she's, dropping the children off here, studying, and to find out, hey, they just, passing the test around. And that was kind of shocking to me, because these are people that's going to be responsible for taking care of people's health. And, you guys have like a little cheating network going on. So just something to add to the conversation. I'll close.
You said they got the cheating network going on. It's been a lot of that with nursing. I mean, that's, the system of white supremacy, widespread, Operation Varsity Blues. We talked about that. But with the nursing situation, I remember we talked about it. That was, I think, over a year ago. They had some situation down in Florida, probably retired firefighters' cousins, but they had this operation where they were cranking out allegedly fake diplomas or what have you and sending these nurses out all over beyond Florida to go out and work. And I mean, it was a large number, bunches of them. And then more recently, they had a case. It was a white woman. she had lied about her credentials and pretended to be a nurse and had been working for a long time. I think she had worked at multiple institutions, and they just prosecuted her. I think it's still going through to see if they're going to convict and sentence her. But that is why the Michael Swango widespread. It's so easy for white people to lie, even now with all the high tech supposed to be abilities to background check and verify who this person is and smart ID and all the rest of it. If you're classified as white, I'd say that before even the drug tests and things, because they said to get a job working at ICE, you got to pass the drug test. If you're white, do they test you? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. That sort of thing. So, and the black misandry of it all, like, hey, that's why I just say, hey, it's the usual suspects are to blame. But I do think it's important to point out that's how white people run the plantation. You know, it's white people say we will allow a certain number of black females to have jobs, maybe even good jobs, like what he mentioned, company car and all that. I'm sure she still experiences a ton of racism, but we're not going to let too many Leroys get nothing like that. Like, you'll be lucky. You'll be lucky if we let you sweep the floor. And a whole lot of time, we ain't got no brooms for you here, Leroy. Beat it, rapist. That's how they run the plantation. That's why I said, like, all these reports that we keep getting with regards to labor, and they exclusively focus on black females, that's deliberate. We know we don't hire black dudes for these jobs, and we're not going to address that. So we'll just pretend to talk about racism and talk about black females losing federal employment and all of that, which is racism. I played the reports. Unemployment rates for black females. That's important. Black males have an even higher unemployment rate. Now, if we just want to ignore that, fine, but that's a major component of how white supremacy racism operates. Black dudes. That's why. Now, we can sit around and pretend all the black males are shiftless and dangerous and rapists and just waiting outside for some sort of medical emergency to rape and mug the ambulance workers. Maybe. The Kanye and the looters now. Or this is how the system is ran. You can't even get a job buffing the floor at the courthouse in Florida, apparently, unless I lied about the numbers. Caller at the courthouse in Florida should be with us too.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. Yes, sir, Gus. I do remember doing that. It was like a comparative, like a marking on a sheet of paper and decide for the black males within the last 4 years. It was like 3 marks compared to like 19 or something like that for the black females. And just recently, there was a black male hired over in the area where they go to court. And some victims speculated that the white guy, that's the supervisor, is going to try to start, as expected, I'm thinking when I heard it, try to pile on responsibilities away from the department where he's supposed to be stationed in, like doing things with piling or putting paperwork into a trash bin, things like that, or doing vending and stuff like that. But I haven't noticed it so far, but I'm keeping an eye on it. Another thing I wanted to mention, Gus, is like vehicles, people like coworkers or managers who may have like a, I guess, political message. I've seen the "Don't Tread on Me." It's like a yellow flag with the I guess like a snake in a tire or something like that on there. I seen that on, I was behind the manager, white woman, leaving the parking garage. And then another, well, I suspect this was a white person. When I was driving back to the courthouse yesterday, had like 3 or 4 words on the back window, and it says, Cracker got a AR. So it says, Cracker got a AR. So I concluded that was talking about like a weapon or something. And another thing I wanted to mention was a white guy or a race soldier mentioned that, you know, somebody was, or all of, like a lot of the white women, he didn't say white women, a lot of the people are wearing black. He says, hey, did you notice that they're wearing all this black and everything? I was like, said, nah, I just got here, you know, I'm ready to get some work done. So, you know, I just kept it concise or whatever. So, and I did notice that at least like maybe 5 or 6 white women who tend to, I guess, associate with each other wearing the color black or whatever. And one of them white women made a comment to a black female, a victim, said that, I guess from how she was explaining it to me, was practicing racism. And because she cut herself off the way she said it, she says, oh, you know, you and such and such, she named a black male, are wearing red today, it reminds me of, and then she stopped talking. And then she just, walked away. And she said that they were wearing red. And I thought it was maybe like some kind of a, joke about being, Bloods or Crips or something like that, because they tend to say those kind of comments. If I could just share like maybe like 2 other things, Gus, there was like an email that went out about the downtown ambassadors. So these tend to be mainly black males doing this job for the city. The city hall is across the street, okay, and the courthouse is right there. So for some reason, the white person in charge sent out this email about using escorts or having an escort go along with you to your vehicle. I guess that's the way he was trying to say it. So yeah, the word escort kept being used in the email. And I was like, man, wow, that's an interesting word to use, escort, so I hadn't heard anything else about it within the last couple of weeks. But the email was like a forwarding from someone else's email from the city, and it was making it seem as though someone can just either walk up to whoever one of these ambassadors and they could escort them to where they need to go. Now, I thought exactly. So I'm thinking, man, like sometimes these dudes are driving these, and I sent you a photograph of how these uniforms tend to look in the vehicles and everything, these bright neon green colors. So it was like exemplified in the email, like, well, sometimes they could be standing on a corner of Main Street and such, and 23rd. You can just walk up to. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So, I don't know what's going on with that. And I'll end with my last report is there was this white woman, clique member. She was, I think, practicing racism. She looked outside of the window and saw a black guy sleeping across the street. I guess he was sleeping on some kind of a structure, and she was like, you know, that guy was sleeping there before I went to lunch. You know, I'm going to go and get the bailiff, and I'm going to go over there and see if he's still alive. And Gus, the guy she named was a black dude. The only black bailiff in there, in the office. She didn't name nobody white. She wanted to name the black guy. And I noticed, looking out of the window, she went up to this guy and started, like, pressing on him, like, trying to wake him up or whatever. And the guy woke up. And, you know, he just, he stood up and just started just kind of walking away or whatever. But just her being classified as white, just kind of, you know, showing that arrogance and power, and walking over there and to say, you know what, hey, I'm going to see if this guy is either dead or what, you know. And I'm going to walk over there with the black guy, too. And one last thing, I did hear a white woman say something about lying. She said, you know what, I can just look you right in the face and I can just lie to you. You know, she used the two letters BS. I can BS and lie to you, you know, and it works with a lot of people. So, you know, I can just do that. She's just bragging about that. And that's all I have to say. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Brag on being a master deceiver. See there? White people can show you better than I can tell you. Much obliged, our caller at the courthouse who did confirm they don't hire too many niggers at the courthouse. At least nigger males. You is lucky you get hired up here as a black. You even think about that, because he told us they got dumb white men. They got other white people working there who are stupid, who white people say they ignorant, unprofessional, uncouth, don't know how to talk to people. They've been working there a long time. Gonna get pension, everything. Leroy, lucky you don't get Negro knocked, you know. He said the black male that they did, I told you about, I thought this might be racial showcasing, because he said they just brought Leroy in and let him walk through the place like they're going to do the old, we might hire you, psych, we not hire. But they did hire him. He said, so they added on, so now instead of 3 Negro males, we have 4. And he said now, they hired him. He'd been there, 5 minutes? They said, you know what? I bet you they're going to start piling it. She said it was the white fella. I bet you that white dude is going to start piling that work on Leroy and giving him work and projects and other departments and all this that he ain't got no responsibility for. I just got here. What you mean you going to start piling on this and piling on that? Have you seen them do this before? Set up. I literally just heard someone reminding, like, y'all remember President Obama when he first started out and they said, oh, I want to see him fail. Ooh. That's generally black people on any job, even if you just sanitation worker. Like, man, I hope he messes up mopping that floor so bad. Ooh, get Leroy out of here. That's another one. You share that with your offspring so they can know, like, really? White people sit around and hope you fail at your job? Yes, yes, yes. Sabotage you and root for you to fail. That's standard operating procedure. Let's see. He said now he was looking at the cars. That's something might be a good reminder, too, if you think, hey, not all white people are racist. Some of my white homies and coworkers, they are as cool as can be, maybe even married to a black person, so they can't be racist. Go look at their social media page or just what they got plastered on the car. Don't tread on me. Wait a minute. Is that Helen's? I thought, is that the Tea Party people? Wait a minute. I thought you... No. Cracker got an AR. I for sure want to be... Matter of fact, that's even Gavin DeBecker. The gift of fear, because you sitting there bragging. You got the AR in the vehicle with you right now? You don't just have the sticker on there? Why do you have an AR? Who do you think you need an AR? That's the one, they don't just shoot you. That's the one, whew, blow your skull into particles. Why do you have an AR-15? Who are you going to use an AR-15 on? Cracker. Click, take a picture of that one, save that. And then, same people, he said they came in and said, oh man, look at that. Leroy and Jamal, they both wearing red today. They said, hey, y'all playing? You know, that reminds me, I remember the time I seen Snoop. Never mind. That's another one. Remind me of Fuller, where he would say it would be so many times white people, they would come out to talk to him, and they would get halfway into a racist joke, and then they would catch, like, ooh, I ain't supposed to. Never mind. He said it would be, they'd said too much of it so you could kind of piece out where they were going. Now, when he started, my initial thought when he said the red, like, oh, look, they coordinate the red, I was thinking she was going to say, did y'all, you know, that remind me of old Satan. That's what I was thinking, you old devilish niggers. But then, my second thought, I was thinking Crips. Because that's you out looting and raping. It remind me of old Snoop. I say, I seen him on TV, them old Crips. And she thought, wait a minute, I probably don't want to call them gang. Never mind. Yeah. Back to work. Let's see. The escorts, I'd seen the ambassadors before. We talked about this, and he had sent pictures, so I knew what he was talking about. And I think he had talked about how they get a lot of Negro males. Low level, we talked about low level jobs, no benefits. You probably don't need a lot of education. And it's basically just to go around and tell people, hey, Leroy, you can't sleep on the bench right there. Come on now, Leroy. Let's move it along. That you can't beg for change right there. Come on, Leroy. That's, you know, kind of the job from what he was explaining. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but that's a lot of it. They're going to send out the letter that you can get an escort. That's the first thing I thought of was cowbell. Like, that's real delectable Negro, human consumption, homoeroticism in U.S. slave culture, which they apparently brag on in Florida, because I got pictures of the signs that say, the Florida Cracker. They brag about this, and then they still got it on the cars. So that's white supremacy culture right there, through and through. But the like, I'm scared. Let me call and get a Negro male escort. It just sounds so randy and what? What? I don't even. Anyway, yeah, I don't even. Yeah. Anyway, and then it matches, because then he told what happened afterwards. He said the white woman, she saw black dude, privilege. See, that's the theme for the day: the worthlessness and dangerous nature of the Negro male. See, another black dude out sleeping on the bench, potential rapist. And she said, look at that, look at that. He might be dead, plotting a rape, who knows? I'm going to go out there. Leroy, let's go. Come on. He said there's one black dude, security officer, bailiff, that they got. We don't hire no, 3 total. We don't hire no whole lot of. So the one of the, Leroy, we're going to go. Let's go see. I don't even know why I'm going. I see white people do a lot of that, where they call themselves looking for trouble. If I really thought he might be up to no good, or he been out there asleep all that time, is this something where, hey, maybe we need to get him medical attention? Does he need a sandwich? A blanket? Why do you have to get the black security guard? This even reminded me, I think before, I called at the courthouse. He said he went to the post office, and it was a white woman, suspected racist. She was there, and I guess she had a package or whatever on a higher shelf. There's all these other people there, white people. She ignores it. She looks, him. Hey, nigga boy, can you come get my, come on. That sort of thing, where it'll be lots of situations where white people, they could go any other time, they ignore the black person. If it's hiring time, they ignore the black person. If it's giving out resources, money time, they ignore the black person. We're going to go do something dangerous. Leroy, got to go get your cousin off the bench. Let's go. Then they go over there. Like I said, are you going to get him a sandwich? I know we can't give him no money. He can go snort crack all day long, but are you going to give him a sandwich? A blanket? Pay for a hotel room so he can at least go and get off the bench for a day? No, this was just, you want to, and got to pull Jamal in this too. Come on. We're going to go across the street. I know that's your cousin, but he can't sleep there all day. Come on. What does it mean to be white? And I mean, that's just so tacky. Like, although they do that sort of nonsense. I think he had said before where one of the white coworkers had said maybe the same black fella had harassed her on the way in, and oh my Lord, it was so frightening. Got to get security. Oh, I need an escort to get out of the building. Come on. Let's see. And then they do the outside. Anyway, much obliged for our caller at the courthouse sharing. For the rest of the folks who dialed in, make sure you talk to your offspring. Can't emphasize that enough about all of the variety of tackiness that you'll likely observe in the workplace. Just rafts all the way through. Be prepared. I think that's the best thing, so you won't be shocked and feeling, groping for words. It's like, oh yeah, they told me about all of this really. So this is about what I would expect in the workplace from conduct from other non-white people, conduct from other victims. Any hoodles. We'll be here. Book club tomorrow. New book. We finished Mary Kay. Last week I was going to read another Seattle book, but new book, cannot wait for tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and compensatory call-in Saturday. We'll catch up on news and what have you from this past week. Any hoodles, much obliged for everyone tuning in, hopefully worthy of your time and energy on a Thursday evening. Sobriety would be best. We need high-functioning brain computers to solve the problem. Replace white supremacy with justice. Creator, we ask, remind us, stop saying not all white people are racist. Remind us, stop name calling people classified as black. Stop gossiping. Stop producing throwaway offspring to be raped by Mary Kay or stuffed with fruit by the foot. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Cow signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. Problem. You're a victim. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.